Canadian anthem is not available, so we'll just play the American one. We'll introduce the bowlers to you here this afternoon who will be going head-to-head for the World's Championship. And I see Chip Carson and Tommy Olston just come in, so Tommy will come up for the second high average of 133.5. That's Chip. Chip, 133.5.
All right, you got to fight for it. You gave it to him?
I thought it was him. You get the envelope.
It's going to be a while.
What are you saying there, King? Are you going to introduce them? Go ahead.
Okay, introducing now.
Kance is going to introduce them now.
The defending world champion, Alfie. The guy who last night, I guess, stood out in the playoff against O'Loughlin's #1, Dick O'Connell.
Stand up.
Holding second will be John Tversky. Who wants to sing his name? Alfie Johnson. The head honcho, Jeff Atkins, is #4.
Well, there's a surprise start. I must talk to the captain of the team over this.
And the guy with the golden arm, Stevie Reno.
Hey, Bill, I told you Jeff wasn't a sub.
From New Hampshire, Billy Glover will lead it off. Mike Pullen is on the keyhole. Then we have Brian Uphole from 3. And the guy we wish had punched last night but didn't, Steve Vadney from 4. I wish this guy had stayed home. Tim Lipke from 5. We also have Harry Reno with the Alfie squad and Danny Glint. And of course, New Hampshire, John Thomas. Those are the guys who will be putting on the show for you this afternoon in this year's edition of the 91 Labatt's Lite World Candlepin Bowling Championship. Good luck and good bowling, everybody.
Okay, King.
By the way, one more thing. All week long, we were selling even splits for, of course, half to the winner and half to Peter Flint. So we're happy to say that this afternoon we'll be giving Tim Lipke a check to bring back to Peter Flint for $1,104.
We'll do some more talking there. We get close, King?
What did you say?
You get close.
We're starting already?
Yep.
Holy jeez, I didn't have my headset on. He got all of us at HAC. He got all of us on, are we squeezed together enough or what? You got us all. He's got us all on camera, no problem?
Yeah, give us the countdown.
Okay.
Dickie!
Up top, right? He's starting. Metro Candlepin Bowling presents the 1991 Labatt's Lite World Candlepin Bowling Championships, brought to you by Labatt Breweries of Canada. Well, welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, to Metro Candlepin Bowling. My name's Gary Ross, along with Bill Hearn, and sitting in between us is Donnie Morrison of Labatt's Lite. And Bill, I understand we have an interesting show for our viewers this evening.
Well, Gary, we've got the 10, 12 best bowlers in the world here. We've got Alfie's club from Springfield, Massachusetts. We've got the New Hampshire All-Stars, led by perennial champion Timmy Lipke. We've got standing room only in the Heather Lanes. Every seat that we have is occupied. Everybody's waiting for a great show, Gary.
And in between myself and Bill Hearn, we have Donnie Morrison representing Labatt's Lite. And Donnie, first year for Labatt's Lite to sponsor this World Championship event, and Labatt's Lite, and I know yourself have to be pleased with the outcome and the fan support so far.
Well, I think we've got 80 ambassadors from the United States here, and we've got 80 or 85 maritime bowlers. And Labatt's are certainly pleased to be involved with this type of an event, because these people have been characters right from the start. They're great representatives. I'm sure they're going to take back the Cape Breton hospitality back to the United States with them, but they're also going to leave a lot of goodwill and a lot of good publicity behind. I want to wish all the bowlers the very best of luck today. We're down to 2 USA teams, but that's a little unfortunate, but I think we're not that far away. I'm looking forward to a good match here, and next year and the year after, great things for bowling.
That's for sure, and I know all the bowlers out there want me to thank you and Labatt's Lite on behalf of them. $25,000 in prize money at stake here, and a good portion from the sponsorship of Labatt's Lite. And so just on behalf of all the bowlers and myself and TV crew, I'd like to thank you and thank Labatt's Lite.
Well, Bill, you and Gary and the support staff, the camera crews, the bowling alley personnel, the volunteers have been spectacular. I mean, it's just, I know they've worked hours on end to make this thing all possible. Kansas Snow and his people, and they deserve all the credit, you people. So we're just a little brewery trying to sell a few beer and maybe promote bowling or support it a bit. So I want to thank you people as well.
Well, you're more than welcome. And with that, I see the bowlers are itching to get back up on the lanes. They want to start this match, as it is going to be a three-string affair. So on behalf of Alfie's Club 57 and New Hampshire All-Stars, we'll get the first two bowlers up to bowl the first two frames of this championship, World Candlepin Championship match. And getting up in lane 10 on behalf of Alfie's Club 57 is Dick O'Connell. And Bill will recall Dick O'Connell 477 in the opening match.
Just a tremendous opening for Dick. Gary, as you alluded, 185 single, 477. Right back in the front pinning. How often have we seen this?
Well, Dick starts over the big strike, and Bill over in lane number 9. Bill Gover punches through the 3-pin, punches through 2.
Okay, Gary, Billy's throwing down his 2-pin punch. Takes out 5 more. 3 left standing.
Well, you see with this Club 57 team, they're a very vocal bunch, and the crowd seems to like them.
They do, Gary. They're into it. They're singing. They're dancing. The fans are cheering them. These guys from Alfie, they all have distinct personalities, and people seem to be relating to them. Now, you see Dickie, we know he can throw double and triple strikes.
Oh, that's for sure. Now he'll be looking to get right back on that top pin. Oh, right back on it.
Wow.
He leaves himself an 8-pin break.
Billy Gover heavy on the head pin, Gary, and leaves a 3 and a 2.
Well, Dick has a tough shot here. He has a double pin down there. And I don't know if he's going to try to punch it through or take it off the wall.
Okay, here we go, Gary. Wide to the left. 8 on the strike. Billy Govers takes out the 6-pin. Leaves 3 and 1. Probably go for 9 with a 3 on the right.
Well, Dick ends up with 8 in the frame, 26 after 2 frames. But he gives his team the early lead, 3-string event here. World's Finals Bowling Championship.
Oh, Gary, right now, Billy Gover has a ball down the right-hand channel, and we're having a little pause while somebody clears the channel for him. Here we go. Throws down and makes a beautiful 10. No shot too tough for these guys,
Nice
Gary.
10. Well, John Tversky's going to be getting up in lane 10 now for Alfie's Club 57. And John Tversky, he sat out the last match on TV. So here's our first time seeing him.
Okay, Gary, John Tversky bowls out of the State Bowl in Springfield, Massachusetts. His lifetime high single is a 189. His lifetime high triple of 474, and his current league average is a 125.
So he's a good one. There's no doubt about that. The first ball right on the top pin, and he leaves himself a nice 8-pin break.
Okay, there's another crowd favorite, Mike Poulin. Gary threw down outside the 3-pin, 7-pin drop. I think this will show you some of the strength of this Alfie's Club 57, Gary. They had a big match against the Cape Breton Air Atlantic Merchants. Tversky didn't start. Here we are in the finals. Now he's starting this game.
That's for sure.
Power to burn.
Hey, what a shot.
Mike Poulin misses on the inside. The ball hits the kick rack, comes back, and spare.
Well, John Tversky played for 10, and he's on it for 10. Well, you can really feel the excitement in the air here, Donnie. All the attention.
Well, it's incredible when you can look down and watch strike after strike after strike. They make the big shots when they have to. It's a real high-tension sport right now. There's lots of activity. I don't know who could ever have said that to Kansas about it not being exciting. I have a good idea, though.
That's for sure. And John Tversky right at top pin, big strike, big 10-timer. So Alfie's Club 57 wasted no time at all. 2 strikes after 2 bowlers. And Mike Poulin only counts 4 on his spare.
Okay, Gary, Mike, the steady left-hander, throws down and spares it up. Tough shot. Took out 4 in his first ball and came back and made the spare. Well, I think Mike would be a man close to Donnie's hurt. Gary being a left-hander.
That's for sure. Well, getting up now in lane 10 is Al Johnson, ball for Alfie's Club 57. You can hear the crowd back here singing for him, Bill.
Gary, I can barely hear you.
Oh, they're a great bunch of bowlers. They're credit to bowling, believe me.
Okay, Al Johnson throws down, leaves the 5-pin with the wood behind. That wouldn't be a factor in the shot. While Brian Uphold has a 2-1 split. The 1 being the high pin.
Al Johnson, he's all over it. Oh, nice shot, nice try.
Brian Uphold makes a tremendous try. Gary had the 3, the 4, and the 7. Took out the 3 and the 7, leaving the 4-pin.
Well, Al Johnson, I've been watching him bowl a few times this week, Bill, and he doesn't miss that top pin too often.
Great deal of control, Gary. Great. Okay, 17 for Al Johnson. The first spare, covered with 7 on it. Brian Uphold crashes the front pin, leaves the 3, the 6, and the 10.
Well, Al Johnson, he's going to have to split the head pin, 3-pin, or else hit it on the outside. See where he goes. Oh, nice shot.
Great try by Al Johnson, Gary. Brian Uphold takes his spare in. 1 on the board for New Hampshire.
Well, Johnson go for 10, try to be 27 after 2, and he ends up with a 9, 26 after 2 frames.
Okay, Gary, after 4 frames completed, we have 3 marks from New Hampshire All-Stars and 3 marks from Alfie's Club 57 of Springfield, Massachusetts.
So pretty even. Getting up now in lane number 10, bowling for Alfie's Club 57, Jeff Atkins.
Okay, Jeff being the captain of the Alfie's team, Gary, and his opponent across the lane is Steve Vadney, who's shown us a lot of good bowling in the last few days.
That's for sure. Steve, first ball, Ray just misses the top pin. He leaves himself the 1-pin and the 10-pin in the right-hand corner.
Okay, Steve Vadney down, an 8-pin drop, Gary, and so often we've seen the 2 bedpost pins, the 7-pin and the 10-pin. He's got a cup of wood, may help him out.
Well, Jeff's got to go on either side of the front pin here. Oh, nice try.
Okay, Gary's got to hit one of those deadwood on the tip to get them to go in the wall and spin and come back across. You saw how close he was to that shot.
Oh, Jeff, nice 10 by Jeff Atkins.
Beautiful 10 by Jeff Atkins, and a 9 for Steve Vadney. What did Stevie have last match?
Jeff Atkins right on the top pin, leaves a 9-pin break. He'll be all over this.
Right, Jared. Gary, the 6-pin with a good deadwood. Steve Vadney comes down with a strike of his own. How many times has he answered the call, Gary?
And Jeff's all over that, no problem.
We don't miss much.
Definitely not.
It's just incredible. You know, I get a lot of input from the community as well. And, these bowlers, they do nothing nothing but gentlemen all through the week of bowling.
Well, you see a lot of these bowlers, especially on Alfie's Club 57. I see them talking to a lot of our young YBC bowlers, trying to give them little pointers, little tips. And it's really nice to see, because the younger bowlers look up to these guys.
Oh, you bet. I mean, when they come down here and see the actual bowling and how accurate and how well mannered they are and clean cut, a lot of good things going with bowling.
Well, Bill, this should be some matchup here. Young Stevie Reno bowling in lane 10 against the experienced Tim Lipke in lane 9.
Okay, Gary, Stevie Reno just makes a fantastic shot, 4 and 2, blew it away off the alley, and Steve the Machine Lipke has his normal 9-pin break and takes it in just as if it was automatic.
So both anchor bowlers start out with a spare.
Tremendous competition, Gary. These guys are so competitive that one bad box may mean the difference in the World Championship.
That's for sure. You get two teams as evenly matched as these. Alfie's Club 57, over 24 teams, they had the high pinfall. New Hampshire All-Stars, 3rd high pinfall.
Okay, Stevie Reno throws down, 8-pin drop. 6-pin, the 7-pin, and a good deadwood. This could be a helper. Gary?
Oh, Tim Lipke, 2 on a spare. Stevie Reno over lane 10, Bill. That shot will go. He has nice wood coverage.
Okay, Gary, Stevie's going to try to jam that deadwood in the single pin, the 6-pin on the right, and shoot that deadwood across the lane. There he goes, and there it goes. Cleverness.
Big shot.
Tim Lipke staying on the safe side, Gary, wanting to avoid that disastrous 2-frame. So he's going to be looking for a 9 probably in this box.
And smart move, he settles for 8, 20 after 2 frames. Well, getting up now, lane number 10, Bill Gover. Bill is currently 18 after 2 frames. His opponent, Dickie O'Connell, 26 after 2 frames. And looking on our monitor, Bill, Alfie's Club 57, 20-pin lead.
Hey, there's Billy Gover throwing a 9-pin break. Gary, is he intimidated by Dickie O'Connell? Not very likely.
I don't think.
Dickie on a familiar spot on the front 1-3 pocket. An 8-pin drop.
And Bill Gover right on it, no problem. Mark it down. This is a very makeable shot for Dick O'Connell here. This will go.
Dickie in on the deadwood, just a little high. Gary, that ball he wanted a little lower so that ball could kick in for him.
Almost looked like he had to split the deadwood, Bill.
It was a tough shot, Gary. And a 9 for Dickie O'Connell.
With that 9, Dick O'Connell goes to 35 after 3 frames. But Bill Gover up in lane number 10 with his spare. He's 28 plus a ball. That ball coming up right here. Ball right at.
Look at that, Gary. Just an amazing ball. A 9-pin drop.
Big 9-pin break.
Dickie O'Connell comes down heavy on the 3-pin. Ends up with a good 7-pin break.
Looks, he's on it. No problem. Mark it down. 47 plus a ball after 4 frames for Bill Gover of New Hampshire All-Stars.
Not to the left or to the right of that pin, Gary. Right in the center of that pin.
Dead center. Dick O'Connell wants to be on the top pin here for a spare, and he has it.
Dickie O'Connell puts another one in the bank, Danny.
Well, getting up in lane number 10 now, Mike Poulin. He has 2 marks to start out. He had a spare, 4 on another one. His opponent, John Tversky, is open on strike.
Okay, Gary, you've got Mike, more of a finesse bowler. Lays the ball in quite nicely on the top pin. John Tversky, a little harder thrower. Down on the left, 6-pin drop and a good possible spare shot here.
Oh, nice try.
Valiant try by Mike Poulin, Gary at 3-1 and took the 3. He had the remaining 6-pin shake.
Well, John Tversky gets 7 on that strike. We must mention here, Donnie, New Hampshire All-Stars are bowling the defending world champs. As Alfie's Club 57, they won this event last year.
There's no credit. I don't know if it would really matter too much because I think they're on a par as far as bowling capabilities. Any one of these bowlers could kill you as soon as you move.
That's for sure.
I mean, you miss a mark, they're going to pick up one on the other side. And what I've noticed is that it can happen just about any time at all. I mean, they're just capable of throwing 3 balls, 3 strikes, and sit down.
Well, Mike Poulin's on the top end. He leaves a tough break. 5 in one corner, 1 in the other.
Okay, Gary, Johnny Tversky off a little to the left, but he's got the 1, 3, and 8 remaining for a great spare. And Mike Poulin pulls out a fantastic spare out of the hat. What a shot.
Unbelievable, Bill. Unbelievable shot.
Oh, Tversky missed a softer one there, Gary. But just when you're looking at a box, you think you may have a 6 or 7. What do they do? Spare it. Incredible. And a 9 for John Tversky. Okay, Gary, now we've got Brian Uphold open on a spare in the second frame. He throws down, drops a big 7 and a shaker, 8-pin drop on the spare. Al Johnson in lane 9 lays the ball out there on the head pin, 7-pin drop for Al Johnson.
Okay, Brian Uphold, you got to like your break. 4 and a 7-pin, straightforward shot. And he's on it. Nice shot. Big mark with that mark, 37 plus the ball after 3 frames.
Okay, here's Al rolling on his. Another nice spare.
Nice shot. He had a double pin in back there, too. This shot ever go in a hurry.
We've seen Brian Uphold in previous matches, Gary. He gets on a streak, whether it be spares or strikes, and he'll just keep on running them.
That's for sure. Well,
throws a heavy crashing ball.
Well, he'd be looking for that big strike ball here. You open on a spare. And hey, he's on that top pin, and he's got a count of 6.
Bad luck there, Gary. 6 on it, but not much of an opportunity for another one. And there again, we have the 7-10, Gary. Twice in this match already, but still counts a big 8 on his mark.
Well, Alfie over in lane 9. This shot will go for him. He's got nice deadwood coverage. Almost looks like if he can slide it in on the red line or a little bit lower, this shot should go, Bill.
Just a little bit lower in that right-hand deadwood, Gary, right to carry the 10-pin, and Al should have 10 in the pit. Textbook shot, Gary. Nothing to it at all. Make the hard ones look so simple.
Well, for any viewers who have tuned in late, this is the 1991 Labatt's Lite World Candlepin Bowling Championships. This is a final event. The winner of this match will be crowned World Candlepin Bowling Champ. And this is coming to you from the Heather Lanes in the Sydney Shopping Center.
Okay, Gary, after 16 frames completed, they have 9 marks each. So they have...
So very even. Steve Vadney's up on the strike, and he punches through the 2-pin. The only good thing is he has another ball left on that strike.
Okay, he's got the counter, Gary, which is the nice thing about the strike. Whatever you do on your first ball, you can get yourself out of trouble with the second. Jeff Atkins rolling down. Jeff on a spare and gets a 6-pin count.
Steve on the outside. What a shot. What a shot.
How about that, Gary? I wasn't going to say that was a hard shot for Steve to make, because we've seen him make so many that nothing is impossible. And, hey, there goes the 4 horsemen, too. 2 shots he almost never make, and 2 of them done in 2 frames.
Well, Jeff Atkins answers the call, that's for sure. But Steve Vadney, that was one of the few times you'll see him miss the top pin. But he came back with a second ball, cleaned her up, and he's open on the spare right here.
What can we say, Gary?
Unbelievable.
Impossible spare, strike, nothing to it. Jeff wide on the left, hits the 2-pin, 3 on his mark.
Well, Steve Vadney with that strike, 59 plus 2 balls after 4 frames.
Jeff Atkins heavy on the head pin, is left with 3 and 2, Gary. You'll see him slide down on the right, possibly make a nice 8. Who knows, maybe a 10, the way these boys are hitting.
Well, nothing would surprise you at this point, that's for sure. And he ends up with a 7. With that 7, 46 after 4 frames. Tim Lipke getting up here in lane number 10. He's currently 20 after 2. His opponent, Steve Reno, 28 plus a ball, as he started out with 2 marks, first 2 frames. We have the choir back for a while there, Bill.
Okay, here's Tim Lipke firing Gary on the front one. And just your basic 9-pin drop.
9-pin break leads to 4-pin with a nice piece of deadwood. Pretty routine for Tim Lipke.
Stevie Reno throws down on the front pin. 7-pin drop. He's got a deadwood out in front, Gary, that could compare his chances just a bit.
You can mark that down for Tim Lipke, no problem. Yeah, a bit of a tough shot here, Bill.
Way out in the left, Gary, valiant effort, but left the 9-pin.
Yes, he gave it a ride, that's for sure.
You notice great sportsmanship with these guys, Gary. They missed a shot, well, they don't say too much. They just come back and load up for another one. One of their opponents make a good shot. The first thing they're doing is congratulate them.
Well, when you bring the kind of tools to the lane that these guys do, you don't get a mark 1 frame. Hey, you're figuring, hey, I'm going to definitely get one the next frame.
that's been the kind of input the community has as far as the bowlers are concerned as well. We check around, and that's the only way we have of actually surveying things and see what's taking place. And the response has been that they've all been gentlemen, good people to have around.
That's for sure.
Those are things that help the bowling along.
Yes, it's definitely a gentleman's sport. That's for sure.
No question.
Well, Tim Lipke gets a nice count of 7 on his spear. He has a very makeable spear shot here. Cloverleaf on the right-hand side. And looks like he's on it. He has it. Nice shot.
Stevie Reno had carved out 3 off the side, Gary. As you saw, almost spared it up himself. Just to further amplify what you're saying about the sportsmanship aspect, Gary, I think the folks back in New Hampshire and Springfield, Mass, are certainly proud of the boys they sent up here to represent their states. They're great ambassadors for their states, great ambassadors for US of A.
That's for sure. Well, Dick O'Connell getting up here on lane number 10. He's open on a mark, but look on our monitor. New Hampshire All-Stars have an 8-pin lead, plus they're open on 4 marks as opposed to 2 for Alfie's Club 57.
Dickie O'Connell firing down on the right. 6 on Dick's spare.
Well, Bill Governor, lane 9, he's also open. He's right on that top pin, and he gets a nice count of 8. But he leaves a 7-10, but he got good deadwood coverage.
He's got about 5 sticks down there, Gary, so he's going to put them in motion, probably make the shot.
Well, Dick O'Connell didn't miss that by much. But Bill Governor looks like he has it. Yes.
Yes, he's got it. We had a hesitation foul there.
That was one for the crowd.
Billy Glover got a nice round of applause from the crowd just for that shot, Gary.
Well, Dick O'Connell ends up with 10. He's 61 after 5 frames. But Bill Glover, 65 plus a ball after 5 frames. So Dick O'Connell want to be open here in the 6th frame. Ball right on the top pin, and it looks like a nice 9-pin break. Leaves a 4-pin. Nice deadwood coverage.
Billy Glover on his mark. Hits the front pin. 8, 9. 9-pin drop. It's a good deadwood as well, Gary.
Well, it should be 2 spears.
Not much given either of these two fellas, Gary.
And Dickie's on it, no problem. Mark it down. 71 plus a ball after 6 frames. Bill, I'm kind of surprised you went after pin. I know the pin was wide open, but that deadwood, it's almost like a cripple line there. No problem, just right on it.
Almost anywhere in that wood would give us home, wouldn't it?
Is there?
Yeah, there he played the wood and down it went. But when you're playing at the level he is, Gary, and he's got a wide open pin, he's got confidence. He's confident enough to hit it. But,
that's for sure.
You can't make him out.
Well, Johnny Tversky getting up here in lane number 10. 45 after 4. His opponent is 50 plus a ball. So Johnny won a mark and just misses the top pin. But he leaves the 1, the 8, and the 10 pin.
Okay, Mike Poulin getting set the ball on his mark, Gary. He's open. 6 on the spare. Okay, he's got 3 and 1, Gary, and put the ball in the side pocket, and he should be able to make it. John Tversky's got a much tougher shot, however.
Well, he misses the top pin. He's down on the 8 pin, so he'll be playing for 9, possible 10.
Mike Poulin wide on the right.
And John ends up with a 9 to go to 54 after 5 frames.
And an 8 for Mike Poulin, Gary.
Well, with that 8, Mike Poulin goes to 64, and we're going to have a substitute in here, Bill. We have Harry Reno replacing John Tversky.
Gary, this shows that Alfies are here playing for all the marbles. Normally, they don't make a change in midstream. They let the bowler finish the string.
That's right.
Shows the importance of this match. Harry Reno's coming in relief of John Tversky.
Well, John Tversky wasn't bowling bad. He's 54 in the 5th, but bowling against New Hampshire All-Stars, you want a little better than that.
Well, when you have 128, 129, 130 average bowler on the bench, Gary, you want to utilize them and get them back in the game.
Yes. So Harry right on top pin, and look at this, a big strike.
How's that for relief, Gary? 1 box, 1 strike.
Well, and a big
not
strike.
To be outdone, Mike Poulin strike his own. Incredible.
If you ask Alfies how do you spell relief, they'll say H-A-R-R-Y, that's for sure. Well,
you know the amazing thing, the bowler competing against him threw one right back at him.
yes, no problem. Well, Al Johnson getting up here in lane number 10. Al's 54 plus a ball after 4 frames. He has 3 marks in 4 frames, and he's open. And he'll be looking to load up, and look at this right on the top pin.
Okay, Gary, there's Brian Upholt not bad break. 6-pin, 7-pin, and 10-pin. It's a stick of wood that he can probably put in motion.
Al Johnson looks good. He's on it. No problem. Well, Al Johnson, 4 marks and 5 frames.
Oh, good try by Brian Uphold.
And that got the singers up, Bill. That's fair.
Okay, Brian takes his 10. Okay, we've got Al Johnson 72 plus in the 5th. Brian Uphold 62.
Well, Al Johnson missed the top pin on that ball. But look at this, he gets a count of 7, and that Deadwood turns right. He might have a good shot at his spare hair, but it seems to be moving it away a bit.
You're right, Gary. That's a different break, but if Al lays his ball on the top pair of that right-hand Deadwood, it should carry through and probably make the spare. Okay, we've got a little interruption, Gary. We've got too many balls on the rack, and the boys are going to take a couple of balls off. Of course, at this level, everyone has their own bowling balls, so it does tend to get congested out there.
Well, Brian Uphold, he'll bowl his first ball here. Currently, he is 46 after... Excuse me, 62. After 5
That's amazing,
frames.
Gary. That's the same break he had last time. Crash the head pin, leave 2 and 1. Bad luck.
Oh, nice try. He hit that about as well as you could hit it.
Okay, Gary, Brian Uphold is doing some consulting with his teammates on this shot now. I think you'll probably see him trying to get in the middle of the alley between those 2 Deadwood. Right where he goes. Just missed by a bit.
Well, Johnson playing for 10. He has 10. He's 89 after 6 frames.
Brian Uphold going to take his 10. Away it goes.
Well, any of you viewers who have tuned in late, this is the 1991 Labatt's Lite World Candlepin Bowling Championships. This is a final match here. $25,000 in prize money at stake. We have a team of New Hampshire All-Stars bowling. Another team from the States, Alfie's Club 57. And right now, it seems to be a pretty even match at this point.
It's not too much to choose between the 2 of them, Gary. We've got Steve Vadney open on the strike, and Jeff Atkins rolling now in lane 10. Jeff puts it down.
Bill, you bowled in this tournament this year, and did you bowl last year as well?
No, I didn't, Donnie. I missed last year. Last year was in Moncton. I missed that. The year before, down in Bangor, Maine, down Charlie Milan's house, we had a great time. We were in the semi-finals against the same New Hampshire team. Tim Lipke bowled 458 against us, and that did us in.
Well, Jeff Atkins just goes by on the right-hand side. This is his cloverleaf break. And nice try by Steve Vadney. Steve was open on the strike, and he gets a big count of 9 on it, so.
Bill, do you notice much difference between when you bowled last and now?
Very little difference, Donnie. We've got basically the same personnel. There's very little changes. I mean, everybody's got a few more gray hairs, and there's been a few more younger kids coming in, but everybody's so happy with the way things are going. There's not too much of a turnover. And we have teams waiting to get in the tournament now because it's so popular, and it's such a prestigious event now because all the good work the organizing committee has put into it.
I think our local bowlers are starting to improve now. I think maybe the Americans are probably about as good as we'll see them. And our fellas are going to come back and be able to handle that pressure a little better, I think. Each year we're learning. I noticed this year a lot of our bowlers are bowling a little more relaxed. And I think that only leads to better scores.
Well, our guys, it seems like there's always one team from Cape Breton that ends up getting in the playoffs, but it always seems like somebody comes up and bowls a 450 or 460 against them to knock them out, so they're knocking on the door.
That's right. We're not that far away from it, that's for sure.
Definitely not. Well, Jeff Atkins gets an 8 there to go to 62 after 6 frames. Meanwhile, Steve Vadney over in lane 9 had a mark, so he's 87 plus a ball. And getting up here in lane number 10 at the moment, Stevie Reno, 53 after 4. His opponent, Tim Lipke, 47 plus a ball after 4. Steve will throw first, and right on that top pin, and nice 8-pin break of Deadwood.
Okay, now here we have Tim Lipke throwing down on his mark, Gary. A little wide to the left, 5-pin count.
Well, Tim has the 4 horsemen in the trailer and back. Steve's all over his 8-pin break, and he has it. Mark it down.
Tough 8-pin break for Steve Reno. Takes it home, no problem. Well, good try by Tim Lipke. Leaves the 6-10.
Well, Tim will try for a 10. If he get 10, it'll be 62 after 5.
Can't help but notice a lot of similar styles with the American bowlers.
Yes, they don't do anything in their approaches, anything more than they have to do. Just
Easy ball, throw hard, throw full arm, full swing, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, bowling. All the way back up, and all the way back forward.
yes, good follow through, and the mechanics are really good. Yes.
Same bowling skill.
Okay, here's Steve Reno on his mark. Gary throws down, blows the head pin away, 9-pin drop.
Right on it, Chuck in. You go down and teach those fellas, Bill, they have the same style as you.
I don't know. I'm older than most of them, Donnie, so it's quite possible. But
Reno, over 9-pin break. He's on it.
Just by a whisker, Gary, just by a whisker. One thing we have to remember, too, Donnie, what we have here is the cream of the cream. We've got the best bowlers in New England, United States, and so when we're seeing these guys bowling, we're seeing the best that they have.
You know, it's funny you mention that and how we get into it, but I was talking to a gentleman here from New Brunswick, St. John, New Brunswick, and he's an older fellow. He said he followed the bowling circuit. Years ago, St. John used to have the big bowlers going into the States, and he said at that time, very few of the American bowlers had the full follow through like they have now. I forget what the word he used, but they used to hold up halfway through the swing, and now they seem to perfect that follow through. And I look at you, bowling Billy, and fellas like Donnie Gauthier and Sheldon Clovey, they have that full follow through. So it must be something. Maybe I have to change mine, I guess.
Well, New Hampshire All-Stars at this point in the match, they have a 21-pin lead, and both teams have 2 marks open. And Bill Gover right on that for a spare.
Right you are, Donnie, with the follow through. I mean, it's so important in golf, it's so important in tennis, so important in baseball. You have to have the follow through. Your arm has to take that natural path and complete what it's set out to do. Okay, Billy Gover makes his spare.
Well, with that spare, Billy Gover's 94 plus a ball after 7 frames. Dick O'Connell got 3 on the spare. He punched right through the top pin. He's playing for 10, and he'll have to settle for an 8. With that 8, he goes to 81 after 7 frames. So right now, it's 20 pins in the difference. New Hampshire All-Stars are up 20 pins, plus they're open on 3 marks as opposed to 1 for Alfie. And look at this big strike, a big 10-timer on the spare. Puts the lead up to 30 pins in a hurry.
Just a cannonball, Gary, just a cannonball. See how quickly those pins jumped in the pit. Dickie O'Connell's been tough all week, Gary, and I don't think he's going to find him break now. How about that, Gary? 9-pin drop, right back.
Big 9-pin drop, leaves a 6-pin, and Dick O'Connell should have no problem with that. But Bill Gover, spare strike, he's currently 114 plus 2 balls after 8, and we'll recall in the last match he had a 175 single.
Oh, it looked like Dickie couldn't make up his mind whether to play the pin or the deadwood, and ended up throwing in between the 2 of them. With Bill Gover 114, Gary on 134 pace, we've almost got to the point where we're becoming blasé about these big scores.
Yes.
At one time we'd just be marveling. Somebody's 34, 44 over par, but these guys just make it look so natural.
He throws 1 mark coming home, he'll be on 150 plus. So now getting up in lane 10, Mike Poulin, he's open on the strike, and his opponent Harry Reno went in for John Tversky. He's also open on the strike. Mike going for a double. He has it.
And Harry Reno is down on the 2-pin, 7-pin drop.
What a timely double strike. Your team's up 30 pins, and you are open on 3 marks as opposed to 1 for the opponents, and you throw a double time, puts the lead up to 40.
And you must remember, Gary, that Harry came in off the bench and threw a strike right in front of Mike's nose. Mike came back the very next ball, strike right back again. How are you? Harry picks up 8 on his strike, looking for 9 in the frame.
Here's our 3rd match that we have done on TV with New Hampshire bowling. In every match, the first string, they've got a sizable lead. So recall in our first match against Cape Breton Atlantic, they had 50-pin lead. Their next match against Maine Heat, they had 82 pins. And right now, they're trying to put some space between them and Alfie's 57.
Well, we know Alfie's has a tough club, Gary, so we're going to be watching them to just stay with the New Hampshire bowlers. Mike Poulin on the double strike, triple strike.
Triple strike. Need we say more?
Well, my goodness gracious. What can we say, Gary? I don't know if we lost our pitcher for a moment there. Mike Poulin threw the triple. Jumped up in the air, landed, jumped, landed, jumped, landed. So much emotion.
Unbelievable.
Well, you know the amazing thing, when you're sitting back in your beer room, you can't help but notice that any one of these guys can do it at any time.
Oh, for sure. And you've been around the lanes all week, Donnie, as myself, and we've been watching a lot of this bowling. 60, 70 pins, that they can disappear so quick.
Doesn't mean a thing. Doesn't mean a thing.
Okay, Brian Uphold with the 7-pin drop. Al Johnson down on the head pin. He throws a strike.
Big strike for Alfie Johnson. And I hear Alfie's Club 57 singing that song, Bill. Long way to go, long way to go.
We're almost at a point, Gary, where we're ODing on marks here. Brian Uphold delivers down on 2-pin, 6-pin, 7-pin, 8-pin drop for Brian. Al Johnson throws a double strike. Holy cow, what do you think of that, Gary?
What a timely double strike. Unbelievable. I mean, your opponent throws a triple strike, you get up, you say, hey, we need something and we need it now, and he throws a big double time.
And let's not forget about Brian Uphold. In the midst of that double strike by Al Johnson, he came back with an 8-pin break and a spare of his own. My goodness gracious, Gary. How much would you pay to get in to see a match like this?
Well, Bill, they're on a pace to bowl at least a 2,000 triple. I mean, you're almost going to have to bowl 2,000 to win this match. The rate they're going, Donnie.
I would say. I mean, they're capable of it. We're going to see it. We had a 2002 today, didn't we, earlier? That early match?
We had, I think we probably had about 2,000 triples over the course of the tournament. Steve Vadney opened on a mark. He gets 6 on his spare.
Hey, Captain Jeff Atkins throws down, has a bad leave. 2-1, 4-7-6.
Don't forget, guys, these guys are bowling for all the marbles. I mean, this is World Candlepin Bowling Championships. This is the finals. Defending champs, Alfie's Club 57, find themselves down in this string, but it is a 3-string event, so a lot of time to come back.
Okay, a 9 for Steve Vadney, and Jeff Atkins looking to pick up the 6-pin for a 10-frame. And pair of 9s. Just when you settle back, Gary, and think that the boys have given up for a minute, all of a sudden, strike, strike, spare, strike, strike.
Well, you look out over on the New Hampshire All-Stars side. Mike Gover's open in the 8th on a strike. Mike Poulin's open on a double strike. Brian Uphold's open on a spare. Whereas on Alfie's Club 57, double strike by Al Johnson, and that's the only mark they have open at this moment.
This seems to be the strength of the New Hampshire team, Gary. They get production from all parts of the lineup. You don't know who's going to carry the mail for them. You know one of them besides Tim Lipke is, but they just keep going and going.
Oh, nice try. It's not going to go.
Okay, we have Jeff Atkins throwing at the 1-pin, the 2-pin, and the 10-pin. Little to the left, takes out the 2-10. That's a rarity, Gary. 2 bowlers in 2 frames, neither one of them made a mark.
Well, Steve will have to settle for 9. He'll be 111 after 8 frames. Jeff will have to settle for 10. He'll be 81. You know, now, Tim Lipke up in lane number 10, currently 72 after 6. His opponent, Steve Reno, 82 after 6.
Both these guys are over 130 average, Gary, so expect to see a few more marks out of them as well.
Oh, that's for sure. Well, Tim Lipke gets a tough break through the middle.
There's Steve Reno off the side a bit, Gary, but he's ending up with a better break out of it than Tim Lipke.
Ooh, nice try.
Even when they miss, Gary, they don't miss by very much. Great try by Steve Lipke, left the 10. Steve Reno left the 10-pin.
Tim Lipke ends up with a 779 after 7 frames. Steve Reno 1092 after 7 frames. Tim Lipke 8th frame coming up here, Bill. Tim Lipke and Steve Reno, both bowlers want to be opening this foundation frame.
Well, there's a lot of marks open right now, Gary. We've got Al Johnson for Alfie's with a double strike. There's Tim Lipke on the head pin. But we've got New Hampshire open with a triple strike, another strike, and a single.
Well, tough break for both bowlers. Tim Lipke, he's got a break you don't see too often. Steve Reno, you got a break that you see quite a bit, but it's not a very makeable spear shot.
It's a break that the bowler sees far too often for his liking, that's for sure.
That's for sure.
Something else I noticed while we're here is that they've adjusted to our lanes awful easy.
Well, have you ever? And how?
Wind and cold, and you don't hear a thing like you got rotten lanes, or the lanes are no good, or the fights are bad. Or...
I think they like our lanes, judging from their scores.
That's right.
Well, 8 for Tim Lipke, 87 after 8 frames, and 10 for Steve Reno, 102 after 8 frames.
What kind of bowling do you think they do in the run of the year, the average bowler?
It's hard to say, really. I haven't talked to any of them, Bill. Bill, I don't know if you have talked to any of them, how many strings they bowl in a run of a week. I said, I don't know how many strings one of these guys would bowl in a run of a week. I haven't been talking to them.
Okay, Gary, I'm sorry I couldn't hear you with the chanting and the cheering, but the guys are bowling 3, 4, 5 strings, 6 strings every day, plus tournament bowling. Okay, so they're putting in lots of time in their game, but just to go back just a bit, Gary, I bowled in the tourney on the right side against these teams here, and there wasn't a single complaint about anything that went on down here. Not the accommodations, not the lanes. The food was great. Everybody was impressed with the hospitality, the kids, the whole bit, so they can't wait to come back.
Well, Dick O'Connell with that big strike up in lane 10 for Alfie's Club 57, and his team's down 35 pins at this point in the match. Can you hear his teammates saying, come on, Dick, time for a double?
Well, we know he can throw more than one, Gary. Don, you must be pleased with the fan participation down here at Heather Bowling Lanes, are you?
Oh, it's been incredible. When you see them lined up at the doorway to get in, and it's supposed to be a real, not a very high profile.
Well, just what his teammates call for a double strike, and that's just what Dick O'Connell does.
All you have to do is ask, Gary.
All you have to do is ask is right.
So that 25 would be, what, about 5 or 8 now, depending on what he's going to throw here? And they're still open, too?
They're still open. They're open on 2 double strikes.
Open 2 doubles, 2 strikes in a row there.
Look at Bill Gover.
There's Billy Gover not giving up. He makes a spare. He's 143 open in the 10th frame, looking for over 150.
Unbelievable. Just like ordering in room service. Order me up a double. I don't hear them calling for a triple.
Okay, Dick O'Connell getting set to bowl on his double strike. It's down the center of the alley, little to the left. Bill Gover, 6, 7, 8. 8 on his mark puts him over 150.
That's a nice string by Bill Gover.
151. Bill Gover getting a fine round of applause. And a big round of applause for Dickie O'Connell as well.
130, is it?
136 for Dick O'Connell, 151 Bill Gover. Now getting up in lane 10, Harry Reno, 89 after 8, but his opponent, Mike Poulin, bowling on a triple strike.
Look at that, Gary. Okay, Harry throws a very crashing ball, Gary, a heavy ball. It's down the center with it. There's 5 in the corner. There's the left-hander. In again. Going to be 4. Oh, my goodness. A triple strike with 9. Can you imagine?
Unbelievable. And he's going to have some single.
Harry Reno makes a great try on that 5. All eyes are on Mike Poulin now. And he makes it.
He caught the end of that deadwood, Bill. He went by the pin, caught the end of the deadwood, and he got awarded with a spear.
Well, Gary, that was the side that had the option. If he missed it, that's the side to miss it on, because he could pick up the mark, and that's just what he did.
Well, right now, he is 153 open after 9 frames.
He can go well over 170 in this game, Gary.
Well, right now he's up 54 pins on his against his opponent, and plus he's open.
Concentrating. Here's the ball down the center. 7-pin drop. Oh, tough break. Mike, tough break.
Well, with that 7 on it, he's currently 160 after 9 frames.
Harry Reno trying to pull one out of his hat. Mike Poland's going to be handy. Ah,
Nice try.
Okay, he's 160, 168. Can go to possible 170 here, Gary, if he takes the final 2 pins.
Harry ends up with an 8, with that 8, 107 for Harry Reno and John Tversky. And Mike ends up with a 9, 169. Excellent single. You can hear the crowd in the background with their applause. Well, now getting up in lane number 10, Alfie Johnson. He's opening that double strike, so he'll be looking for a triple of his own.
Non-stop action here, Gary, at the Heather Bowling Lanes in Sydney, Nova Scotia.
And this is only the first string of a 3-string event. So it's a total of 3. Al misses a top pin. He can't be happy with that.
Okay. Brian Uphold crashes down a 9-pin break, Gary. Oh, bad ball by Al Johnson. You wanted to be on the safe side to catch 7 or 8 on that, Gary. Uncharacteristic.
3 on one, 3 on the other. Not what he wanted.
Brian Uphold makes a spare. There's where he wanted that second ball, Gary.
Well, looks like New Hampshire All-Stars are going to have a sizable lead going into that second string.
That was a good opportunity to cut into it for Al Johnson, but he went a little too deep on the second ball.
Well, nice ball there in the top pin, but he leaves himself a tough break. But Brian Uphold, big count of 8 on that spare. And he's got some deadwood he can shoot here.
Okay, Gary, by the looks of it, the right-hand tip, you should take the spare. The deadwood will take the 5-pin, and the ball will take the 6-pin, and away it goes. There we go.
Nice shot, Brian Uphold. Put that mark 128 plus. But Al Johnson picks up 10, a 142 single. But he's going to find his team's going to be down a considerable amount after this string is complete. And Brian Uphold
down the side for 5-pin drop. 133, if I'm not mistaken, Gary, for Brian Uphold.
Brian got a good piece of them in the last 3 frames, Bill.
Right you are.
Well, Jeff Atkins up here in lane 10. He's currently 81 after 8. His opponent, Steve Vadney, over in lane 9, 111. So Jeff be looking for a mark or two cutting that deficit.
30-pin difference in those 2 bowlers, Gary, a huge amount. Okay, just for a moment, Gary, New Hampshire's first 3 bowlers had a triple of 453.
Unbelievable.
And of course, Alfie's are 385 after 3. Jeff Atkins answers the call and makes a nice spare.
If New Hampshire can get a mark or two in the next couple of frames, they have a shot at a 700 single. Team single.
Well, there's one of the
one of
guys
those marks
who do
right
it,
there.
Steve Vadney, Gary. We've seen him come through clutch mark after clutch mark after clutch mark.
Well, both bowlers open here.
Jeff Atkins rolling on his spare on the front pin, 7-pin drop, but a hard spare to follow.
Steve Vadney, nice count of 7 on his mark, and they're 1 mark away from a 700 team single.
Just amazing bowling, Gary. Just when I think we see everything, boy, the boys up the limit, and away they go again.
Nice shot.
What a shot. Nothing to safe out there.
Unbelievable.
Steve Vadney a little wide to the right on that one. Well, that was a great shot by Jeff Atkins, Gary. He had the 5-pin, the 7-pin, and the 8-pin. No deadwood. Made it clean.
Not a shot you see made too often, and Steve Vadney ends up with 8 for 136. Just Mr. Consistency up there.
Okay, Jeff will be looking for 9 or 10 here. And a 9-pin drop.
Well, Jeff with 9 on that, he ends up with 117. But getting up, Steve Reno getting up in lane number 10. 102 after 8. Tim Lipke, the big gun supposedly for New Hampshire All-Stars, is only 87 after 8. And if he can get 1 mark, they'll have over 700.
That's right, Gary. They're 11 pins short of 700. Tim has 7, so they're down 4. And there's Tim Lipke throwing the 9-pin drop. Shaking, not going to fall. Steve Reno looking at the 1-pin, the 3-pin, and the 7-pin. Down on the side, leaves the 1 and a 7.
Right on the...
You notice that Donnie, he wasn't to the left, he wasn't to the right, right on the money. Good 9 for Steve Reno.
Well, right now, Bill, I got about 70, 75 pins. The New Hampshire All-Stars are up, but this is only one string, and it is a 3-string event.
Anything can happen with these fellas. Anything at all.
Well, you can see Alfie's turn around and do the exact same thing next string, Gary, so it doesn't mean a thing. Tim Lipke on the spare. It's down. 5 on it. That will put him over 700, Gary. If you get a 9 in the next frame, that will give them 700. A nice vicinity to be in.
I think you have to remember as well that Alfies were home resting while New Hampshire were here bowling. So that's a plus.
Yes, that's for sure.
Well, there's two schools of thought on that, Donnie. A lot of times we talk to the different athletes, and some of them say they'd rather just play right through and not break the momentum, stay warmed up. But nobody can ever seem to make up their mind, whether it's in the NHL or baseball or anywhere else, whether they want the days of rest or not.
And Tim Lipke ends up with a 9. Steve Reno ends up with an 8. Nice round of applause for the opening string. Nice round of applause. And we're going to take a break for one moment. We're going to come back with the second string, and we're going to come back and recap the scoring in the first match. So we're going to take a pause for the cause, and we're back in a moment.
We were down 73. With one string today, we can do things today.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to recap the scoring here. As you look at New Hampshire All-Stars, Bill Gover, lead off, 151. Mike Poulin with the triple strike, 169. Brian Uphall, last 3 frames, all spares, 133. Steve Vadney, 136. Tim Lipke, their big gun, only had 111, but they had a 700 team single. Now we'll look at Alfie's club. Dick O'Connell, 136. Alfie Johnson, 142. Jeff Ankins, 119. Stevie Reno, 119. And John Tversky, 107 for 621 total. And Bill, right now it's what, 79 pins after one string.
It's hard to believe, Gary, that you can bowl a 621 and be down 79 pins, but that's the type of game this is.
Well, you gotta really think that the triple strike of Mike Poulin, big difference there. You look at the top 2 bowlers, 151 and 169, 320 for the top 2 bowlers. Just incredible bowling. And you look at the top 2 bowlers of Alfie's, 136, 107, 243. Big difference right there. There's almost 80 pins there.
Right you are, Gary. Something we're going to look for the next string now. Tim Lipke is, of course, we know he's 134 average. He's 111 this string. So he's 25 pins short of his average. So if he's going to catch up to his average, he's going to be over 150 this string. And I think I'm pretty safe in saying he'll be in that neighborhood, if not more.
That's for sure. So, Donnie, you have to be impressed with the bowling in this first sheet.
Oh, God, I'm telling you. I could use him on that Labatt Lite handicap one we had. Maybe I could fly one of these guys in.
Well, it'd be worth your money, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. They'd blow the average away, though.
Yeah, true enough. Well,
I have to get my brother Harry over with me.
I don't know if you could find enough people with low enough averages to compensate for Tim Lipke's average, Donnie. You'd have to.
Best in the world rating now?
Well, it's kind of arguably, I guess. Some people would say Tommy Olstra is. Tim Lipke ended up, what, one pin higher than him in the averages. Both of them had the exact same amount of strings. And Tim Lipke knocked down 1 pin more than Tommy Olstra over a run of 30 games or something like that. So, you know, it's kind of iffy. But I would say he is definitely one of the best. You agree with that, Bill?
Well, I think what you're saying is who's better, Mario Lemieux, Wayne Gretzky, Stevie Eiserman. I mean, you know, you put him in a hat, you pick him out, the guy that's on that day, he's going to be the best. But, you know,
that's true.
They're just superstars, and there's no other way to describe them.
That's right. Well, with that, I think we'll get the second string started. We'll get the first bowlers up on each team, and we'll start the second string away with New Hampshire All-Stars leading by 79 pins.
Okay, Gary, Billy Gover in lane number 10, getting set to begin the second string of the World Candlepin Championship final match. Bill throws down, 9-pin drop, leaves the 5-pin. His opponent, Dick O'Connell, throws down. Heavy on the 2-pin, or the 3-pin rather, but has a nice 6-pin break himself. Oh, Billy Gover just misses by a whisker on the left, Gary. Hasn't missed too many of those this past week. Can O'Connell capitalize on it? Oh, fine try. Okay, 9 for Bill Gover. Dick O'Connell looking for a single to make it 10. And a pair of 9s. Okay. Young Bill Gover for New Hampshire All-Stars. Second frame, second string. On the front one, takes out 5.
Well, Dick O'Connell getting up here in lane number 9. He started out with a 9. He'll be looking for American. Hey, right on the top pin, but a bit of a difficult leave.
Well, he's got the 2-pin, the 7-pin, the 5-pin, and the 10-pin, Gary. But if Dick can get just up above that red line, send the 2-pin onto the 5 and across the 10, he shouldn't have any problem with the 7. So he can make that one.
Well, you'd much prefer his than the break Bill Gover got there.
Oh, you know that.
Nice shot.
There we are,
nice
Gary.
shot.
Just the way it was written out.
Well, Alfie's Club 57, Bill, down 79 pins after one string. If they can cut into that, even 30 or 40 here, they'll have a chance coming into the third string. But they're going to have to get some marks. They're going to have to get them early, put some kind of pressure on New Hampshire All-Stars. But we've seen over the first couple of matches in New Hampshire on TV, as soon as a team would try to get back into the match, they would match the mark for mark. So it remains to be seen.
Well, Gary, what Alfies are looking at now, they're not thinking they're down 80 pins. They're thinking they're down 40 pins. They'll take 40 back this string, 40 back the next string.
Well, Mike Poulin's first ball, he's down the corner. He leaves himself a 4-pin break. He has 6 pins remaining. For Harry Reno, big strike over in lane number 9.
There's a song we've heard often this week, Gary, Harry Reno song.
Well, Mike Poulin playing for 10, and he's on it for 10.
Okay, Harry just blasted a strike down. Gary, you know he's looking for a double strike, and
well, I'll tell you, a couple of double strikes will get you back in the match in a hurry. Mike Poulin, he had the triple strike in his first string, throws his first ball, second frame, and he's right through the middle, leaves a 6-pin break.
Okay, here's Harry glaring down. Let's go on the front one. 9-pin drop. 9-pin drop it is, Harry. Just a whisker away, Gary, from that magic double strike.
Mike Poulin, tough shot coming up here. Hey, nice try. Harry's on it.
Harry's on that 7-pin. 30 plus in the second for Harry Reno. I don't know if our microphones are picking up the singing, Gary, but it's just incredible the spirit these Alfies team have.
Well, they're down 79 pins, and you would think they're up 79 pins.
Okay, we've got 3 marks and 4 boxes for Alfies, defending world champions. New Hampshire, 0 marks for 4 frames.
Brian Uphold, first ball, he misses the top pin, but look at this, Bill, some late action, 7-pin break, very makeable shot.
Okay, Al Johnson is delivering on the front one, 7-pin drop, and a very spareable break. Brian Uphold had a 7-pin drop, Gary, the 1 to 3 and the 10, and leaves the 10-pin after a nice try. Oh, Al Johnson thought the runner was going. I think he had to pitch out, Gary, but
yes, not where he wanted to throw. Meanwhile, Brian Uphold picks up a 10 in his opening frame, and Alfie Johnson also picks up a 10.
That was the ball he wanted.
For sure. Well, right now, Alfie's Club 57, they have 3 marks out of 5 frames.
Uphold down on the side again.
Al Johnson want to be open here, as his 2 teammates both are open in the second frame. He wants to join them with an open mark, and look at this, big 9-pin break.
Big 9-pin drop, Gary. That wood shouldn't hurt him any. Brian Uphold is on a 6-pin break. Whammo, in the pit.
Big shot.
Okay, Al's got a great wood there.
And Al Johnson is on it for a spare.
You don't see Al Johnson missing a shot twice in a row very often, Gary.
So first 3 bowlers for Alfie's Club 57, all open on marks. That brings up Steve Vadney in lane number 10. Steve had a 136 in his opening string.
I would call Steve the great equalizer in these games. Gary, every time something starts to happen, Steve's come along and put out the fire.
Well, you got to be impressed with his bowling. I mean, he had 385 against Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics. He had well over 400 in the second match against Maine Heat.
Okay, here's Jeff Atkins, wide to the left, leaves a 1-7-10 with some good deadwood down there.
Oh, nice try.
Okay, the wood has rolled up for Jeff Atkins. Gary should be able to make the spare if he's heavy on the head pin.
Wow.
Oh, he missed the head pin in that shot.
Everything came around at the ball, 2 pins, but nothing knocked it down. You have to play for 10.
Okay, Steve picks up a 9. Jeff throws down and gets a 9.
Well, 9s are wild for the opening frame for our number 4 bowlers. Well, so far, 4 marks to 1 in our second sheet. Alfie's Club 57 have 4 marks. New Hampshire All-Stars only have 1.
Steve Vadney back on the head pin where he normally stays. There's a 7-pin drop.
Oh, there's 10. There's 10 in a hurry.
Okay, that's the ball he's looking for, Gary.
Don't look now, Bill, but Alfie's Club 57, 4 bowlers bowled, 4 of them open.
Okay, Gary, the thing you remember is Alfie's are the defending world champions. They're loaded with pride, and they're going to give up nothing in this game.
For sure.
10 for Steve Vadney.
Well, the ranker bowler Steve Reno is getting up here in lane number 9. He opened up with a 119. Tim Lipke, his opponent, in lane number 10 for New Hampshire All-Stars, 111. So both to be looking to improve on their first string scores, Bill.
Right you are, Gary. Here's Tim Lipke throwing. On the head pin, leaves the 5 and the 6. If there's ever a spare that's almost impossible, that's it, Gary, but we've seen the shots these guys made in. Who knows?
I think this is about the only shot we haven't seen them make yet.
That's probably because we weren't looking, Gary. Oh,
nice try.
Stevie Reno has a couple deadwood out front. He'll probably play the right-hand tip and get them moving. A little too far in the middle for that shot, Gary, to get them to spin.
Well, Tim Lipke ends up with a 9. And Stevie Reno ends up with an 8. So any viewers who have tuned in late, this is the 1991 Labatt's Lite World Candlepin Bowling Championship. This is our final match. The winner of this match will be crowned world champ. We have a team from New Hampshire All-Stars, bowling Alfie's Club 57. Currently, we're in the second string. New Hampshire All-Stars have a 79-pin lead after the first string.
Okay, Gary, we've got both bowlers had good head pin hits and left 2 splits. Tim Lipke has a nice try at his. Stevie Reno will go for the deadwood and see if he can't get the motion. But so we're looking at probably 2 10 boxes here for the anchor bowlers on Alfie's Club 57 from Springfield, Mass. and New Hampshire All-Stars from the state of New Hampshire.
And a pair of 10s.
Pair of 10s it is.
Well, leadoff bowler's getting up now. Dick O'Connell getting up here in lane number 10. He's open on a mark. He's 19 plus a ball. Looking to cut into that deficit.
Okay, one of the crowd favorites here, Dickie O'Connell, 19 plus a ball. Gary in the second against New Hampshire All-Stars Bill Gover.
Well, you look at our monitor, Alfies have picked up 13 pins, but more importantly, they're open on 4 marks, opposed to 1. And 1 of those marks right there, a big count of 9. So right now, they've cut 22 pins off that deficit.
22 pins, Gary, right you are, and they still have 3 opens to New Hampshire's 1.
And
so this is what I meant before. If they take 40, 45 pins back this string, then they're in good shape for the last string. You know they'd like to take them all at once, but...
Big mark, Dick O'Connell. 38 plus a ball. Oh, nice try by Bill.
Bill Gover makes a nice try, leaves the 10 pin. But these guys, Gary, they can turn around. Anyone can turn around and throw 10 marks in a row, 180, 185. We know it. We've seen it here. Like 150 strings seem to be commonplace now.
Yes.
We hear some of the chants from Alfie's. Gary trying to get Dickie O'Connell fired up there.
Well, he's got 2 marks in a row. He's got 9 on his last mark, and he'd be looking to improve on that, looking for a 10-timer here. Oh, and he's right on the top pin, but he cuts off 5. Leaves 5 in the left-hand side of the lane.
Okay, Bill Gover throws a strike. I was about to say, Gary, Bill Gover's gone 3 boxes to the mark. He's due, and sure enough,
yes.
before the words were out of my mouth, 10 in the pit.
Dick be looking to try to be on this. Looks good, nice shot.
Hey, look at that Dickie O'Connell go, eh?
You hear the crowd back there, Bill. They're right into this match. Teams are right into it, and some awesome bowling.
I think that introduced Harry Reno up in alley number 10, Gary. Bowling against Mike Poulin.
Well, Harry's open on the mark. He started out with a strike and a spear on it, so he'd be looking to load up on it.
There he goes, down the center of the alley. Big 9-pin drop. Mike Poulin in lane number 9. Throws down. 9-pin drop.
Well, Harry, he just picked up a 9-pin break last time, and he'd be looking for this one, and he missed. Oh, tough break for Alfie's Club 57.
So close, but yet so far. Mike Poulin rolls down, catches the nose of the Deadwood, and ball just goes wide of the 10-pin.
Well, the only good thing about Harry's 9-pin break, he was open on the spear where Mike wasn't. So he got a big count of 9 in that spear, and he ends up with 10 in the frame.
And 10 for Mr. Poulin as well.
So right now, I got it that they've probably cut down about 35 pins. It's probably only down to about 40 pins overall.
Those 80 pins can disappear pretty quick, can't they?
Oh, can they ever?
And we haven't got into the double, triple strike segment of the show yet.
And I would only think that's coming up.
I think it's a pretty safe bet to predict a double strike before the end of this match, Gary.
Well, our last match that we did on TV, we had, what, 4 double strikes and 1 triple strike? We've had so far in the first ring, we had a triple strike and a double strike.
Hey, there's the 7-10 again, showing up an awful lot this week. Harry making a nice try on the 3-2, going outside, hoping to kick off the wall and slide back across the alley. A real tough one. Okay, you see Captain Tim Lipke consulting with Mike Poulin on that 7-10 break, Gary. I think when it's all said and done, you'll find him out on the right-hand tip of that Deadwood.
Well, Harry gets a 9 out of his, make him 58. Because I would almost think, Bill, that he's going down on the 7-pin. Is that where you'd go, or? Well, that's where he's gone.
Now, there again, that's where we're different, Gary. I was out on the right hand.
Oh, were you?
Side, yeah. Well, I mean, Mike has a cross-alley left-handed ball. The ball is heading in the direction of the 10-pin, so why not get out there and let the ball clip over and make the shot?
Right, okay.
Anyway, who am I to tell these guys what to do, eh?
That's for sure. Well, Johnson getting up here now. He's open on a mark. His opponent's also open on a mark. So both bowlers looking to load up here.
Al Johnson 20 open, Brian Uphold 20 open. Al is down, blasts the head pin, 7-pin drop.
Brian Uphold on his pair, right on top pin, 9-pin break in Deadwood.
A beautiful Deadwood it is too, Gary.
Oh, nice try by Al Johnson.
Okay, Al Johnson right on the front. And
No
there's Brian
problem.
Uphold taking his
Yeah,
in.
Brian puts his in the pit, no problem.
Hard one to miss though, Gary.
Yes. Al Johnson looking to be open here. Last time
Al
he was
throws down on the front pin and leaves a 2-1. Okay, Brian Uphold on the left, 4 pins on his mark.
Yes, he missed the top pin. He leaves them all in a bunch. He'll have to give a strike ball load here if he would like to have a spare.
That's a shot, Gary. You see hit 5-pin stays quite often. Good try by Al Johnson.
Not this time, Bill, not this time.
No
He's in
shot
the
too
pit.
tough, Gary. There's nothing that amazes me after seeing these guys bowl. And a nice 10 by Al Johnson.
But with that 10 for Al Johnson, 46 after 4, but Brian Uphold, he's got 3 marks in a row, and he's 53 plus a ball. Jeff Atkins getting up here in lane 10. He's open on that big strike, and he's really looking for a double.
Okay, Jeff finding his position on the floor. Gary's lining himself up at the spots.
He wants to be right in on that top pin, looking for a
Approach, here's
double.
the ball. Right in the front pin. Oh, great first ball and bad luck. Steve Vadney throws in. 8-pin drop. Leaves the 6 and the 10.
Well, Jeff's going to have to make like a surgeon here and carve that pin right over there, Bill.
It's going to be a hard shot, Gary. Hard shot.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
nice try.
Handy. Steve Vadney on the front pin and picks it out by itself. Case of being too accurate.
And 9 for Jeff. And also 9 for Steve.
Okay, after 3 frames, we have Jeff Atkins 36, Steve Vadney 28. I believe this is the longest Steve has gone in the 3 matches we've seen, Gary, without a mark.
Well, Steve would definitely be looking for one here. But first, Jeff's going to try to get one for his team. Jeff just grazes the hot pin on the way by, Bill, and he gets a nice 9-pin break and some deadwood.
Okay, he's left the 8-pin, and like you say, a good wood. Steve Vadney down on the front pin. Leaves us 5-7 with good coverage out front. Now he'll probably try to slide in that vertical deadwood, Gary, and take it off the wall.
Jeff's right on his, no problem.
Didn't touch the deadwood, just picked it out clean as can be.
Oh, nice try.
A little high. Okay, Steve Vadney takes the 5-pin for a 10 frame. 4 boxes without a mark for Steve Vadney.
Yes, and
definitely
that's
a record.
Yeah, not something that happens a lot. Well, Stevie Reno getting up here in lane 10. Currently 18 after 2 frames. His opponent, Tim Lipke, 19 after 2 frames. So both bowlers looking to be on the top pin here. Both of them looking to be open. Steve Reno right on the top pin. He punches through, Bill. Bit of a tough break here. 2 on one side, 3 on the other.
Okay, here's Tim Lipke throwing down Gary. He splits the 1-3 pocket and leaves a solid 5-pin with little deadwood coverage on the right.
Look, Alfie's Club 57 have to be pretty fortunate right now that Tim Lipke is not really doing too much. And he's on it.
Well, there's a 5-pin in the pit, Gary, and he's a guy that he's got 1 mark, and he can certainly string out 7 or 8 more just to finish up. Steve Reno makes a good 8. Okay, so we have Stevie Reno 26 after 3, Tim Lipke 29 plus a ball after 3. Steve Reno on the right, so Lipke being a gentleman, let's Stevie go first, as the custom is. And
Stevie looking for a much better break this time, and hey, he leaves himself an 8-pin break, and the pin shaking, but will not fall. Tim Lipke, look at this, right on top pin, Bill, big strike, 10-timer for Tim Lipke.
How about that, Gary?
Just incredible. Stevie Reno takes out the 3-pin all by itself. Bit of a tough break there for Steve Reno.
Well, you can say he missed the break, Gary, but he was certainly on the object pin, the front pin, and just a matter of an 1/8 of an inch, maybe 1/16 of an inch between making the spare and not getting it from 60 feet away with a 2-pound, 7-ounce ball. That's fantastic.
Well, Bill Gelber getting up here in lane 10. Currently, he's open on a strike. He's 36 plus 2 balls, and he'll be looking for a double time. And it seems like Bill, every time somebody gets up there on a strike, they're looking for a double. But look on our monitor there. Alfie's Club have backed 24 pins so far in this match, but New Hampshire open on an extra mark.
That's right, Gary. So it'll probably in the teens now. Billy Glover's got to throw something constructive here. He has a 9-pin drop. Dickie O'Connell's going to look to match that. He's open on a spare, 3 in a row.
Oh, Dickie right on the top
on
pin.
The front pin, 9-pin drop.
Well, pair of 9-pin breaks. Dick has a little bit of deadwood to shoot with his. No problem. Mark it down for Bill Glover.
Dickie O'Connell waiting for that wood to stop moving, Gary. Now he's set. And delivery, ball. Wow.
Well, Bill, he almost had an option shot there. He could have played that right where the top pin was, and probably wood would have slid right over. That wood was turned a little bit too funny for him.
I can't help but think, Gary, that wasn't where he was throwing for. I think he wanted to be out in the right-hand tip more than he did in the center of the wood.
Well, he's going to have to settle for 9. With that 9, he goes to 71 after 5 frames. But Bill Gover getting up in here lane 10. Open on that spear and is currently 56 plus a ball. He's looking to load up, and looks like he's on the top pin, and he gets a nice count of 6.
6, and more importantly, Gary's got another spare break there. Dickie O'Connell tight in the middle. 3 and 2. A tough shot for Dickie O'Connell, Gary, but he's made just about everything he's had, so.
Yes. A little far to the right for Bill Gover.
A little far on the right, but the good thing about that, he got himself out of a potentially bad box, Gary. Dickie misses, looking at a possible 8.
Well, Bill ends up with a 9. With that 9, he goes to 71 after 6 frames. Dick O'Connell, he'd probably settle for an 8 here if he can pick up 2 of these pins. And he settles for a 9. Nice 9. With that 9, 80 after 6 frames. Well, Mike Poulin getting up here in lane number 10. Currently 39 after 4 frames. His opponent, Harry Reno, in lane number 9, 58 after 4 frames.
Mike throws down on the head pin, knocks down 7. Knocks down 7, Gary, but they're all over the place.
Yes, very tough break for Mike Poulin.
There's Harry Reno off to the left and takes down half of them.
Ooh, nice try.
Beautiful try. Okay, Harry's got to be heavy on the head pin with this, Gary. And look at that.
It's hard to believe.
Possibly, it's not finished yet. It's not finished yet. There
Yes.
it goes.
Big spear, Harry Reno. And Mike Poulin ends up with a 7. Something that you don't see a lot often in these matches. Somebody getting a 7 frame, Bill.
Very few bad boxes, Gary. Mostly 9s, 10s, and
It almost seems like anything they get under
looking
10
at the
is a
big board,
disappointment.
Gary, that's the only 7 on the sheet. Mike fires down on the head pin, cuts out 5.
Well, Harry on that spear, he's down the side. He gets a 6-pin break, 6 on it. Shot that will go. Both these shots will go, Bill.
That's right, Gary. Mike Poulin wide to the right. Harry Reno throws down heavy on the head pin.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're both looking at probable pin.
Yeah. Well, Mike will have to settle for an 8, as will Harry Reno with that 8.
Certainly no shortage of excitement in this, the 1991 edition of the World Candlepin Bowling Championships, brought to you from the Heather Lanes in Sydney, Nova Scotia.
Well, Brian Uphole getting up here in lane number 10, Bill. He's on a bit of a roll. He has 3 marks in a row, 53 plus a ball after 4 frames, and he'll be looking to load up right here.
Brian representing the New Hampshire All-Stars, Gary, the gentleman in the red shirts. Al Johnson from Alfie's Club, 57. Springfield, Mass, throws a strike.
Well, that's a shot, the box previous to that, that's a shot that that Brian had made, and he almost makes it again. But he'll have to settle for a 10. With that 10, 67. Al Johnson, we seen in their previous match, Bill, he had a double strike, so he'll be looking for another one here.
Ball up there, come on. Another one right here, Al. Ball, buddy, see ball.
Double strike, Al Johnson.
There we go. Hold your tickets, Gary. You'll never see one strike that you may not see 2 or 3 or 4. Al Johnson double strike in the first game, double strike in the second game.
And Brian Uphole all over that 9-pin break, no problem. Well, Steve Vadney getting up here in lane 10. Currently, he's 38 after 4. He has yet to get a mark in his second sheet. His opponent, Jeff Atkins, 46, but he's open on a mark in lane number 9.
Okay, here goes Steve. Always around the head pin. On 1-3 pocket. Nice 8-pin drop.
It's nice 8-pin break, and he has some deadwood.
Okay, here's Jeff bowling on his spare. Oh, way down to the left, Gary cuts out 3.
Only a count of 3 on the spare.
Okay, here's Steve throwing at the 4 and the 7.
Ooh, Kind of hard to believe that one, Bill.
Well, if I didn't see it, I wouldn't have believed it, Gary. Deadwood covering the 2 pins, right at the top of it, right where we wanted to be. What happened? Who knows? Steve throwing down, takes his 10. Jeff close behind, he takes his 10.
So both bowlers with 10s in their 5th frames. 6th frame coming up, both bowlers looking to be open.
Okay, we had Alfie's coming out strong in the 2nd game, Gary, and then they sort of teetered off, and then Al Johnson got up and threw the double strike, and then they're hoping to get a lift out of that.
And Jeff back is right through the middle. He's a 3 and 4 split.
Wow.
Tough break.
Steve Vadney close behind, off to the side.
Nice.
7-pin drop.
Steve misses the head pin for one of the very few times in a match, and he leaves himself the 1, the 3, and the 10 pin. Oh, nice try.
Great out ball by Jeff Atkins, Gary.
Well, Steve, a little too full on the top pin. He'll have to play for 10.
A good try nonetheless.
And 7 for Jeff.
That was strange. Now he threw a ball right on the head pin, hit it kind of heavy, come back to the next ball, right on the pin he wanted. Seemingly he got out of trouble from a bad box, and then missed on the 3rd ball, 7.
Well, Tim Lipke getting up here on lane 10. He's open on a strike as he got spare strike his last 2 frames. Currently 49 open. His opponent, Steve Reno, 36 in the 4th. And Tim bowling on that strike, he's right on the top pin. He takes half, leaves half on one side.
Okay, he's got a good spare break here, Gary.
You'll have to play this just like a 9-pin break.
Just like
right down in that wood, should carry through.
Nine and a shaker, Gary.
Left that stubborn 4-pin.
Oh. Steve Reno, 1 ball to go. 6-pin standing. Possible 4-box, 5-box, or 10. Who knows? Beautiful 8, beautiful 9.
Yes, nice 9.
Nice shot, Gary.
Nice 9 for Steve Reno. Make him 45 after 5 frames. Tim Lipke with his 10, 68 after 5 frames. Tim Lipke look to be open here. 6th frame coming up.
68 in the 5th, Gary. 18 pins over.
Right on the top pin, tough break.
High in the pocket.
Well, Bill, you got to figure that Alfie's Club 57, they got to get something from young Steve Reno here. Currently 45 in the 5th frame. The man's 130 average.
Tim Lipke throwing for the... That's true, Gary, but Steve Reno had that 8-pin break 2 boxes ago, and he pulled out the front pin with it. Say any kind of luck at all, he would have had an 8-pin break there, some more on it, and he would have been right back in the game. But now he picked up that one. 8 for Mr. Lipke.
Well, Dick O'Connell getting up here in lane number 10. Currently 80 after 6 frames. His opponent, Bill Gover, 71 after 6 frames. And we'll get a count on the monitor in any moment here, Bill, and we'll still just see just exactly how close this match is.
Right you are, Gary. Okay, Dick O'Connell, who's been showing his great bowling all week. He's getting set. Releases the ball on the head pin light. 7-pin drop. Okay.
What a rotten break Dick O'Connell got.
Bill Gover crashes the head pin. 8-pin drop. But it's got an excellent wood there, Gary.
Well, looking at our monitor, Alfie's have picked up 14 pins in this string, so 65 pins overall. But they're open on a double strike plus a spare, so a chance to do some real damage when Al Johnson gets up.
And there's
nice
Bill
shot,
Gover.
Bill Gover.
Dick O'Connell looking for 9 with the 7-10. And there's your basic 9. Okay, 7 boxes completed for Dick O'Connell, 89, 19 over par. 7 boxes completed for Bill Gover, 81. And working on a ball.
Well, Dick O'Connell wants to be back on top. Got to be opening that 8th frame. Finds his team down 65 pins in the match. Another nice head pin hit and a very tough break. So he's a 5, 7, 6, 10. And Bill Gover, look at this, 9 on the spare. He's a 5-pin.
Well, this is a turning pair of frames here, Gary. Bill takes that. It's going to take away most of Alfie's lead.
And Bill's right on it.
Away we go.
New Hampshire looking tough at this stage of the match, Bill.
They sure are, Gary. Okay,
Well,
Harry Reno, one of the big strikers for Alfie's Club 57, up now in lane number 10. His opponent, Mike Poland, number 9.
Well, Harry's 82 after 6. Mike is only 54 after 6. And Harry will be looking for a mark or two here to try to help his team out. Right on the top pin, big 9-pin break.
Mike Poland down, right-hand side. It's lots of secondary action. And a 7-pin drop. Head pin, 6-pin, and 10-pin. Harry Reno had that 6-pin earlier, Gary, in the string, and he missed it on the right. This time he overcorrected, missed it on the left. Poland throws. Oh, good try. On the head pin, took to 10.
And Harry ends up with a 10. Well, you hear the Alfie's Club 57 trying to root Harry Reno on here. Wants him to be opening the 8th frame. Right back on the top pin. And once again, 9-pin break. This time he leaves a 3-pin.
Okay, Mike Poland throws down, throws a strike. That's going to make Harry Reno's 9-pin break just a little bit thinner, Gary.
That's for sure. He's on this one.
Bingo.
Well, if Alfie's Club 57 is going to get back in this match, Bill, they need a big count right here from Al Johnson.
Well, we know
Al, the first ring, he's opening on a double strike. He only got 3 on one and 3 on the other. So he has a little reprieve this time. He's opening on a double strike.
Well, you know Al can throw the big strike, and if you ever wanted one, it was right here. It's down the center. Heavy on the head pin. Cuts out 6 out of the middle.
Well, Brian was open on a spare. Brian only gets 4 on his mark. It's going to be a tough shot for Al Johnson here.
I think he's more concerned with getting a 3 on the second strike, Gary, for a 9 count. There we are, down the side for safe 8, yeah. Oh,
Ooh,
Brian
nice
Uphold
try.
makes a valiant effort there. And a basic 9 for Al Johnson. Brian Uphold takes a 10. Okay.
Well, with that 9 for Al Johnson, 99 after 7 frames. 8th frame coming up, wants to be open here, and he's back on the top pin. Like same break you seen Dick O'Connell have, only on the opposite side.
Brian Uphold putting his bid in, throws a nice 9-pin drop, 5-pin left.
Seems like this stage of the match, Bill, Alfie's, as soon as they get a little bit of momentum going, they seem to start running into a few bad breaks.
Al Johnson throwing down on that, narrowly misses Bernick. Right you are, Gary, it seems like they throw down, they'll get a 7-10, or they'll get a 3 and 3, a 3 and 2. It's hard to get your momentum going. Meanwhile, Brian Uphold throwing at the 5-pin, picked it off slick as could be.
Well, Jeff Atkins getting up here, 66 after 6 frames. Got to expect Alfie's looking for something from him, Bill.
Okay, you've got Brian Uphold. He's 101 open in the 8th against Al Johnson, 109. So only an 8-pin difference between those two bowlers. Okay, Jeff Atkins, 66 and 6, only 6 over par. Against Steve Vadney, 57, 3 under.
Jeff want to be on the top pin here. Last time he's on, he punched straight through. He's in the pocket a little more this time. 5 in the corner, Wood coming over, ends up with the cloverleaf +1.
Steve Vadney on the front one, and a 2-1 split. Very difficult break. Jeff will be looking to split the 2-pin and the 4-pin, or the 2-pin and the 5-pin. Gary, one side or the other, it's basically the same. And a little wide to the right.
He's on that 5-pin.
Steve Vadney takes the front pin out of his 7-pin break.
Yeah, nice 10 by Jeff.
Well, 10 for Jeff. The ball he was looking for.
10-76 after 7 frames. You know, Steve Vadney, Bill, 7 frames, you've yet to have a mark. 7 frames. First time I've seen that from Steve Vadney.
It's very true, Gary. He's only dropped 4 pins in those 7 frames, so he's looking at a 96 without a mark. which is a great string pinning-wise, but not what Steve wants.
Steve, once again, right on the top pin, punches right through. Meanwhile, Jeff Atkins, 9-pin break, leaves the 4-pin, should have no problem with this.
Okay, Steve is going to be on the deadwood side. Gary tried to pinch it and send it over. And there he is. He gets out of trouble. He's not going to have a bad frame. He's left with 2. He should pick up 1 or 2 of those.
You don't get New Hampshire All-Stars over there, Bill. There's top 3 bowlers all open in the 8th frame. Jeff Atkins on it, no problem. 86 plus a ball after 8 frames.
Okay, there's 3 open in New Hampshire, 2 open on Alfie's.
Well, Steve Reno getting up here now in lane number 10. He's 55 plus a ball. He's got his first spear of this sheet, of this match. And he'll be looking for a big load here, Bill. Try to cut in that deficit.
Well, Steve has been all around the front pin, Gary, so he's got a pretty good chance to crash a big load here in this one. And possibly overthrows a bit, gets a 7 on it. Tim Lipke's throwing on the front one. And a 3-1 with the shakers.
Oh, a little too far to the right.
Okay, we've got Tim Lipke with a 3-1. Gary's going to try to hit that 2-pin over, 3-pin over onto the 4, but just a little wide.
Well, just for any viewers who have tuned in late, this is the 1991 Labatt's Lite World Candlepin Bowling Championships coming to you from their Heather Lanes in Sydney. We have New Hampshire All-Stars, 79 pins after 1 sheet against Alfie's Club 57. We're currently on the homeward stretch of our 2nd string. It is a 3-string match. And Alfie's, Bill, they really need some marks. They need them in a hurry to try to cut in that deficit.
You sure do, Gary. And Stevie Reno throws a good first ball right where he wanted and left the back row. But his opponent, Tim Lipke, in lane number 9 is not much better off, Gary. He's thrown an excellent first ball, and he leaves a 7, a 9, and a 10 with a couple deadwood hanging around. Steve Reno just getting out of trouble, Gary, hitting a deadwood and
yes,
probably not expecting a spare, but
trying to avoid you can do with a shot like that. Tim Lipke, he's going to try to make that wood do something for him here.
Okay, he's got 2 options here, Gary. He can hit the tip, or he can hit that one that's kind of sideways. He's going for the sideways one and takes out 1.
Well, Steve ends up with 10, 81 after 8 frames.
Well, this is not the kind of gain that Alfies need, Gary. They can't gain 1 or 2 a box. They have to be loading up.
No, as we'll see, it's going to come up on our monitor any moment now. Just exactly how close the 2nd string is. But you look on the monitor, Alfies have back 32 pins.
32 pins, Gary, right on par for that 40-pin lead they're looking for. Of course, they're down a mark right now.
One of those marks is right here. Bill Gover, he gets a count of 7 on it. So that's down to 25 pins, but still 54 pins overall. So I need some big marks coming home the last 2 frames.
Right you are, Gary. Dickie O'Connell was heavy on the 3-pin, took out 3. Bill Gover makes a fine try in that 7-pin break, leaves a 10-pin. Dickie O'Connell is firing on the head pin. Wow, what a try. Okay, 9 for Bill Gover.
And Dick O'Connell playing for 10. And he has a 10. With that 10, Dick O'Connell, 108 after 9 frames.
Bill Gover, 116 after 9. Dick O'Connell, 108 after 9. This is going to seem like a bad string to Dickie O'Connell, Gary, unless he comes up with his double or triple strikes.
Well, Dick O'Connell, he had 3 marks in a row of 2nd, 3rd, and 4th frames, but since then he has not got a mark. He needs one here to close this match out. And nice big strike.
There's 1. This is what I meant when I said he'd get 1, 2, or 3. You know he can string those strikes out. Okay, Bill Gover is going to finish with the 125 or 126. Dickie O'Connell, 118 open on a strike. So Dickie still has 138 left there, Gary, if he fires 2 more strikes.
Well, Dick could be looking for a double here. There's no doubt about that. He wants to really cut in that deficit. A double will go a long way in helping out Alfie Club 57's cause here.
Here he goes. Down the center. Look at that. Double strike. Just amazing. Just amazing. Never count him out. What a performance from Dick O'Connell from Boston, Massachusetts, Gary.
Well, 128 open.
Uh-oh, here comes the noise sounder again. There's the chant for Dick O'Connell, Gary. I think they got the fans in the Metrodome silence. And 6, 7, 27 out of a possible 30 in the 10th frame for Dickie O'Connell.
So Dick O'Connell ends up with a 135, but more importantly, he helps cutting it to that deficit. Mike Poulin getting up here in lane number 10. He's open on a strike. His opponent, Harry Reno, is open on a spare. And you know, Mike, he gets one. Hey, last string, he had 3.
Wow. On the head pin, 8-pin drop.
Harry, a lot of concentration, wants to be on that top pin. Oh, and he's down the corner. He only gets a count of 5 on a spare.
Okay, in that 10th frame of Dickie O'Connell, Gary, he picked up 27 pins. Bill Gover picked up 7, 10. So he gained 17 pins. Dickie O'Connell gained 17 pins in the 1 frame. Good try, Harry. Is he going to get it on the way back?
Might be.
We can't see it on the screen, but there's a deadwood just lying in front of the head pin. It wouldn't roll. So close.
Well, Mike Poulin, 8 on his strike, also 8 in the frame, 90 after 9 frames. After Mike having a 169 his first string, he's tied with the frame this time.
And it hasn't looked like he's done anything differently, Gary. Throwing the same ball, the same motion, the same approach, same follow through.
Just can't get that extra pin.
Harry Reno, 117 after 9. Mike Poulin, 90 after 9. And there goes another one.
Yeah, big 10-timer for Mike Poulin. Harry right on the top
Reno,
pin.
and maybe he's going to get one himself. Just a 9-pin drop.
Double deadwood, Bill. You never know it.
Just never knows, right. Strangely enough, Harry Reno was not surprised either, Gary. He just looked at it and kind of grinned and shook his head and said, yeah, I'm not surprised.
Oh, with that 10, Harry Reno ends up with a 127.
Okay, Mike Poulin, 100 open. Well, we're not going to see a double strike in that frame, Gary. It wouldn't have been a tall surprise in head. He's got a 7-pin drop. Looking to pick up 10 pins on the strike.
Well, he'll be going for 3 in the corner. Try to get a spare on the strike. Nice way to finish. And he has it for a 110 single.
Dennis.
Well, Brian Uphold getting up here in lane number 10. He's open on a spare. Currently 101 plus a ball after 8 frames. His opponent, Al Johnson, 109. And on that spare, Brian misses the top pin. He gets a count of 5. 4 horsemen in the trailer and back. Going to be a tough shot.
Okay, a chance for Al Johnson to pick up some more ground. Al is down on the left. Oh, Brian Johnson gave that one a good ride, Gary. Brian Uphold gave that one a good ride. Sorry, Al.
Al looked like he went on the outside. Nice effort. He'll play for the 2, try for 9.
Okay. Brian splitting the defense there, not where he wanted to throw the ball, but he takes an 8. Al has an 8. 1 box closer to the finish.
Well, Alfies are getting a lot of chances to get back into this game, Bill. Not a hell of a lot of marks coming home.
Right you are, Gary. With the exception of the Dickey show and the Mike Poulin show, it was kind of quiet. Okay, Brian Uphold's got an 8-pin break. Al Johnson's got a 9-pin break. Seems when one gets a break, the other guy bears down and he gets it.
Well, I got to figure Brian will be all over this. Oh, he missed to the left. I mean, if you're going to miss to the right for sure.
Key miss here.
Big break for Alfies.
Al Johnson capitalized on this one.
Yes.
Al realized the importance of this. Just took a little time, dried his hands off.
Oh.
hit a deadwood, and you can hear the sighs in the crowd. Big break for New Hampshire there. That's how easy Brian Uphold's shot was, Gary.
Yes, pretty routine, that's for sure.
Okay, Al Johnson, 127. The three-man total of 389 for Alfie's. Brian Uphold, 124. Three-man total of 360. Scores are down just a bit this game, Gary. Steve Vadney, 8-pin drop. One in Sydney, one in North Sydney.
Well, Jeff Atkins bowling here in lane 9. He's open on a mark, and he'll be looking for a big load. But he's off the head pin.
Okay.
Count of 6.
He was high in a 3-pin, Gary, but he came out smelling like a rose, it seems. He's got a 6-pin drop. Pins are fairly close together. He's on the outside of the head pin. Throw a pocket ball. He's got it. Split it. He still should get it. There we are. There we are. Big shot by Captain Jeff Atkins, Gary.
Well, with that mark, Jeff Atkins, 102 plus a ball after 9 frames. But Steve Vadney has not got a mark in this sheet. But hey, he's himself a 9-pin break. Should be routine for Steve.
Well, after going 9 frames to that one, Gary, that pin is a lot skinnier down there than it normally would for Steve. Jeff throws down on the outside and comes up with another good count. And there's steady Steve right on the 10-pin.
Well, Jeff's is having a hard time trying to find that head pin there, Bill.
He's missing on the left, he's missing on the right, he's missing on the left, back to the right. Then he finds he's too heavy on it, but the sum total of it all, Gary's picking up the spares that are available to him, and with the result, he's going to be 118, 119.
Well, he ends up with a 9 for a 118 single.
Steve Vadney rolling on his only mark of the string, 5 on it.
Well, he ends up with about as close as you can come to 100. He ends up with a Wayne Gretzky, a 99.
Wayne Gretzky or a Sheldon Covey?
Yes.
The magic number for both those guys, 99.
Well, Tim Lipke getting up here. He's 94 after 8 frames. Steve Reno, 81 after 8 frames.
Okay, there's Tim Lipke, heavy on the head pin, a 3-2 split.
I got, the way I see it right now, 35 pins for Alfie's Club 57 they have picked up in this string so far. And
Okay.
if he can make this mark, Steve Reno, that would be put them over to 40, which is what you had said.
There goes the spare, Gary, and like I said earlier, they don't want the 80 back this string, not to make themselves push too hard. If they can take 40 back here, then hey, they've got half the back. They know they can do 40 pins in one string. That's only 8 pins a man, which is very little for guys of this caliber.
That's for sure. Tim Lipke ends up with a 10, 104.
If Alfie's Club 57 can take this string by 40 pins or more, Gary, they're going to be in great shape for the 3rd string. Stevie Reno, high on the head pin, 6-pin drop.
Right through the middle. Shot that will go. He can split those 3. He can make this.
Very important shot for Tim Lipke here, Gary. 2-pin, the 4-pin, the 7-pin. Tim is down. Bingo, away she goes.
Nice shot, Tim Lipke. Well, Steve did not miss that by much.
Just by a whisker, Gary. Okay, still a 3 and a 4-pin remaining. Takes out the 4, 9 frame. 106 for Steve Reno. 613 total for Alfie's. That's a low game, Gary.
Yes, it is. And the thing is, New Hampshire All-Stars aren't going to make 600. Tim Lipke throws a big strike on the spare.
Tim Lipke throws the hammer. 124 for Tim Lipke.
Even at 124, Bill, Alfie's Club 57 pick up some pins. They cutting it at deficit, and we're going to recap the 2nd string in a moment and come back with the 3rd string of our finals of the World's Candlepin Bowling Championship. So stay by, back in a moment. Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our third string in our match, our finals. And we'll just recap the scoring in the second sheet. Dick O'Connell for Alfie's Club 57, 135 in the second sheet to go along with a 136. Harry Reno, 127. Al Johnson, 127 to go along with a 142 from the first string. Jeff Atkins improved on his first string, 118 as opposed to 117 for his first string. And Steve Reno, 106 for a team total of 613. And New Hampshire All-Stars, Bill Gover, 126. Mike Poulin, 110. Brian Uphold, 124. Steve Vadney, 99. And Tim Lipke, 124 for a 583 total. And Bill, they picked up, what, 30 pins off the total at this
30
point?
pins, exactly. Gary, they were down 79. They picked up 30. Makes a difference of 49 with one string to go here in the 1991 World Championship, the World Candlepin Championships at the Heather Lanes. It could have been down a lot less than that. Tim Lipke came up in the last frame, took 20 off the total.
That's
a
for sure.
big difference.
49 pins, it's a lot, but it's not a lot for these guys here. That's for sure. But we're going to have a change in Alfie's Club 57. They're going to change their starting 5. New Hampshire All-Stars are going to keep theirs the same. So maybe a little change of names, maybe a little change of luck, Bill.
Yeah, I think what they're going to do is do what they did in that match yesterday, Gary, where we saw them bowling. They're taking Stevie Reno out of the anchor spot. Going to put Al Johnson down in the anchor. Remember, Al Johnson had a 90 string, responded, come back to the next game with somewhere around 150.
That's right. Well, the bowlers look like they're itchy, look like they want to get back up on the lane, so we're going to start with first two bowlers, two lead-off bowlers, and we'll start off with our third string of our finals. And there's Labatt's Lite 1991 World Candlepin Bowling Championships, coming to you from Heather Lanes here in Sydney.
Okay, here we go. We've got the bowlers up.
Well, Dick O'Connell getting up in lane 10 for Alfie's Club 57. And he'll be bowling once again against Bill Gover.
Okay, Dickie O'Connell, 271 for 2, Gary. He was 340 for 2 last night, but he's certainly on another 400 pace.
Well, both bowlers, Bill Gover, 151 his first sheet and 126 his second sheet, so he's 277.
Okay, Dickie O'Connell missed his break. Bill Gover has a 9-pin break. And there we go.
Well, New Hampshire All-Stars, Bill, they can smell it. They just got to come out and bowl this string. They come out and bowl, they will be world champs.
All they have to do is match the defending world champions, Gary. They don't have to beat them in this string. They don't have to do anything. Just stay with their man, and they'll be the new champions.
For every mark that New Hampshire All-Stars get, makes it that much more difficult for Alfie's Club 57 to get back in this match. Dick O'Connell, once again, he misses the top pin.
Billy Gover high on the head pin, pulls out 4 out of the middle. Certainly a break for Dickie O'Connell. Not that he has a lot to shoot at, but he still has something that he can spare up. Wow, he cut that out, Gary, didn't he?
Did he ever?
Okay, Billy Gover threw a good 8-ball. Looking at a possible 9.
Well, Dick O'Connell starts out with a 6 to go along with 8. 14 after 2. Definitely not the way he wants to start. And Bill Gover, even though he got 4 on that mark, Bill, he picks up 9 pins for his team.
Okay, now we've got Harry Reno bowling in alley number 10. Mike Poulin getting set in lane 9. Okay, Harry very deliberate. Little practice slide, make sure his shoes are okay. Okay, Harry's getting set. Harry, a big tall right-hander, Gary, looking to lay the ball out there in the 1-3 pocket. And he crosses over, but gets a 5-pin drop and has a very spareable break.
Well, Mike Poulin misses a top pin. He takes the 3 off the corner. The Harry shot will go. Splits the 1-3. This shot should carry through pretty quick.
Wow. Wide to the left on that one, Gary. Whoa, there's a funny ball now.
Well, Mike was really wide to the right on that one.
I don't know if the ball stuck to his hand, whether it's sticking, but the ball came back and it's hanging around the pins now. We have to have somebody go down and take that ball out from in front of the 5-pin. I can't ever remember seeing something like that happen, Gary.
No, you're going to have to get that ball out there before
I don't know if we can get a shot of that with our cameras or not, but The ball is right on the plate, just between the head pin and the 2-pin.
Al Johnson is going to go down and remove the ball.
And he's got to be careful he doesn't disturb the placement of the pins as well, Gary. There we go. And a big round of applause for Al Johnson.
Well, Mike's third ball coming up here, as Harry has already bowled his first frame, and Harry has got a 9. And Mike ends up with a 7.
Certainly a bad box for Mike Poland, Gary. He didn't throw one ball where he wanted to. He had 3 misses that time.
Harry wanting to be on that top pin here. And he misses once again, but he misses to the opposite side of the top pin.
Okay, he missed the last one to the left. This side he probably overcompensated and come in. Mike Poland makes the adjustment, 6-pin drop.
Well, Harry, you'll have to get a strike ball out here if he wants a spare conversion. Nice
Okay.
try.
Mike Poland has a good deadwood in behind his shot, Gary, so basically it's a 9-pin break he's looking at. There we go, 10 in the pit.
Well, you can mark that down for Mike Poland of New Hampshire All-Stars. And Harry Reno ends up with the 10 with the 10-19 after 2 frames. A little bit of a strategy move here, Bill. Jeff Atkins comes out of the 4-hole, moves up to the 3-hole. Steve Vadney moves out of the 4-hole up to the out of the 5-hole up to the 4-hole. And Al Johnson, who was bowling in the number 3-hole, is down in the anchor spot.
We saw the last time Alfie's bowled O'Loughlin's Construction in the semifinal, Gary. Captain Atkins did the exact same move. You had Johnson, who was bowling in the 90s. He dropped him down to the anchor position, and he came up with a big 140, 150 game. So whatever he did, it works. See if he has the strategy pays off the same way this time.
Well, Jeff Atkins, his first ball is right on top pin. He leaves a nice 8-pin break. And he'll be looking to convert that here, but he's too far over to the right.
Brian Uphold makes a nice try at the 7-8-10. Now, who's Captain Atkins got left on the bench yet? Gary has got John Tversky, who started.
And he has Dan Glint, who has yet to see action in this match.
Right you are. Dan Glint, somewhere around 125, 126 average bowler, Gary. I'm sure he wouldn't hesitate to use him if he thinks he's got to get him in the game.
Well, John Tversky, 123.7 average. And Dan Glint, 120.1, so.
Right you are, Gary. Danny Glint has a 127 average this year in Pittsburgh, Massachusetts. That's his regular league average. There's Captain Atkins making a clutch spare.
And Brian Uphold also gets a spare. Well, Stevie Reno moves out the anchor spot up to the number 4 hole here, bowling lane number 10. He'll be bowling against Steve Vadney.
Okay, somebody's going to catch fire this game, Gary, and the one that does, you're going to see him
No, I believe you're right
lead
there,
his
Bill.
team to the World Championship, possibly.
Well, Stevie misses a top pin, and Stevie 119 and 106, not really on his game here. Steve averaged 130 for the tournament, and he's only 225 for 2, so.
Well, these guys didn't get the average for nothing, Gary, and I'm sure that before this game is out, they'll be back up around their average. And we'll see why they're carrying the big games like that. Steve threw a good first ball, 9-pin drop, 7-pin, cover it with deadwood. And as his teammate said, see you later.
Well, you can mark it down for Steve Vadney, as he had to go 10 frames the last string to get his first mark. This time he wastes no time, he gets one in the first frame.
Would you be totally surprised if Steve Vadney got 10 marks in a row, Gary?
Nothing would surprise me with Steve Vadney. 385 his first match on TV, well over 400 his second match. Steve Reno, there's the ball we're looking for Stevie Reno.
That was a power strike, Gary. That's all that was just sheer power. Steve Vadney, the finesse bowler, 9-pin drop.
How many times have we seen it, though, with Steve Vadney? The bowler against him throws a big spear or a strike or a timely one, and he comes right back with a spear of his own. And look at this place of wood, smart shot,
Hey.
29 plus a ball after 2.
There's a good shot. We just caught a shot of Tim Lipke shaking hands with his new opponent, Al Johnson. Al dropping down to 3rd position to the Alfies, to the anchor for Alfie's club.
Well, Johnson had a 142 in his opening string and 127, so he's 269 for 2. He's bowling his average. Tim Lipke, 111 and 124, a little below his average. Al Johnson in lane 10. Delivers first. Right at top pin. Big 9-pin break.
Tim Lipke throws down. Pulls out the 3-9. Big spark plug right here, Gary. Al Johnson picks up this 3-pin. Going to be handy.
He's on it.
Bingo.
Oh, nice
Tim
try.
Lipke making a great try. As the boys would say, Al, hit that stick.
Well, Tim's on it for 10. Al Johnson looking for something good to happen for his team, for his Alfie Club 57 team. Looking for a load on the spare.
And a good hit on the head pin, sliced out 5, Gary. Timmy Lipke keeping the ever-present big ball there. Leaves the 5 and the 9. Al Johnson's on the front pin, Gary, but just a bit too heavy.
Well, these are 5 and a 7. He'll play for
Look
9.
at the picture of concentration in Tim Lipke's eyes, Gary.
Well, he has
You know he wants this shot.
Oh, definitely. He has a 5-pin and a 9-pin. Wants to be on that 5-pin. Whoa, too flush on a 5-pin.
Now, I noticed Tim winced just a bit there, Gary, when he was throwing that ball. We saw him limping earlier in the previous match. I wonder if he's not hurting just a bit.
Well, he ends up with 9. Also, Al Johnson 9. With Al Johnson's 9, 24 after 2. Tim Lipke with his 9, 19 after 2. Again, up here in lane number 10, Bill Gover, 23 after 2 frames. His team's up 49 pins after 2 strings. New Hampshire picked up 13 more pins, so that leads up to 62 pins. Now Bill Gover, big strike.
Throwing the hammer strike. Dickie O'Connell's got to answer the call now, Gary. Make no mistake about it. Well, time becoming a factor now in Alfie's defense of the World Championship, Gary.
Yes, this is our 3rd string of a 3-string match, so
And
all marbles on the line here.
We're in the 2nd set of frames. Dickie O'Connell wide to the right.
Well, New Hampshire All-Stars really, Bill, they're doing what they have to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 marks out of the first 11 frames.
That's right.
Better than 50%.
And for Alfie's, only 3 marks, and it should be totally reversed if Alfie's want to cut into that lead.
Well, Bill, they're looking for a double. Oh, he's on the top pin. But he needs a 78 and a 10, but he's got some nice deadwood that he can shoot.
He seems to like the position that deadwood, Gary. He wanted everything to stay just where it was. Dick O'Connell rolls. Heavy on the head pin again. What a time to get cold, eh?
Right through the middle. Dick O'Connell's 22 after 3 frames. Not much going right for Dick O'Connell here on this 3rd string.
And yet he's not missing, Gary. He's hitting the object pin, so that's about all he can do.
Whoa,
nice try. Just missed by an inch. What a fine try by Billy Gover. Dick O'Connell throwing it 3 and 3. We've seen that made a few times the last couple of days, Gary.
Well, Bill Gover ends up with 10 with that 10, 52 after 4 frames. Dick O'Connell play for 9. And he'll have to settle for an 8. 30 after 4 frames, Bill. Not the way Dick O'Connell wants to start this 3rd string. Not by no means.
I noticed a distinct look of confidence over on the New Hampshire bench, Gary. The guys are starting to get close enough to sense they've got victory within grasp.
Well, right now they have 3 marks open. They have a sizable lead. One of those marks is Mike Poulin. He's on it right here. And he's going to get a count of 8, 9, possible 10? 9.
9 it is. Harry Reno back on the 3-pin. Every second box, 2-pin, 3-pin, 2-pin.
Yeah,
that was a 2-pin.
Harry's having a hard time trying to find that head pin. Mike Poulin out over that 9-pin
takes
break.
another one. Harry Reno makes a good try, Gary, but when you've got 6 or 7 pins standing after your first ball, it's difficult to convert to a spare.
Well, all these marks that the New Hampshire team have gotten in this 3rd string starting out has really silenced the Alfie's Club 57 team.
Right back, Harry, right back, baby. Come on, wake up, call for Alfie.
Okay, Mike Poulin getting set to load up now.
Well, he's 36 plus a ball after 3, and he'll be looking to be right on that top pin once again, and he is. And he punches through, and he's 3 and 2 split, 5 on the spare.
Okay, meanwhile, Harry Reno's throwing down a huge crashing ball. Gary leaves a 7-pin. Harry hasn't been totally sharp on the 9-pin breaks he's had in this game, Gary. He's missed quite a few of them.
Oh, Harry's missed that one. That's the third 9-pin break that he's missed.
Mike Poland throwing down for the 10, right on them. And a 10 for Mr. Reno.
Oh, it's a 10 for Mike Poland. 51 after 4 frames. 10 for Harry. 38 after 4
Okay, we can see in the background Gary Tim Lipke charging his team up. Brian Uphole in lane number 10. Captain Jeff Atkins of Alfie's club, lane number 9.
Well, I guess Tim Lipke's figuring, he's saying, hey, if you snooze, you lose in this match. Just too many good bowlers bowling against you. You got to be awake all the time.
Brian Uphole throws a crashing strike. Wow.
Big count of 10. A lot of emotion showing up there by Brian Uphole.
Hey, Jeff Atkins. Wow. Right back at him, Gary. What's the difference in the ball? Very little, if anything. Just one has a pin stand and the other's got 10 in the pit.
And Jeff's got that double deadwood down there, Bill. 9-pin break, double wood.
Well, there's a little separation on it, Gary, so he can play it. I think you'll see him going right on the red line of that front deadwood. Gary just try to push it straight through. Important shot. Look at that, eh? Right on the red, pushed it into the second one. They both opened up and went right around the object pin.
Hard to believe. Just seems like everything's going right for New Hampshire. Everything's going wrong for Alfie's Club 57. And a double strike here, Bill, and so you could almost end this match.
You hear the boys calling for double time, Gary, and can Brian, well, we've seen him throw 5 strikes one game. Oh, the dreaded 1-5 plus the 8-pin.
Well, he's on the top pin, that's for sure.
Right down the gun. Jeff Atkins down in the corner. Okay, he's looking for 7 or 8 on the strike area. That's what Brian is doing. He's got 6. That doesn't hurt.
Yeah,
Gets 3 more. He's got a good set of frames.
Jeff Atkins, second ball coming up, wants to be back on that top pin, and he is, but doesn't get enough carry. There's 3 pins remaining.
Well, when you got 7 looking at you, Gary, it's a tough shot to make wherever you put your ball.
Well, 7 for Brian Uphole. He goes to 53 after 4 frames. And Jeff Atkins ends up with a 10. Fine 10 by Jeff, 48 after 4 frames. That brings Steve Vadney up in lane number 10, 29 plus a ball. Stevie Reno in lane number 9. He has an 8 and a strike.
Okay, we've got the classic crasher here in Stevie Reno and the classic finesse bowler in Steve Vadney. And Steve throws down on the front one. Beautiful ball. 7-pin drop and another spare break there. Steve Reno fires on the head pin, crashes, double strike.
Well, that's what the Alfie's Club 57 needed to get them back in this match, Bill.
Steve delivers, a little wide to the right. Well, there's an opening now. And you know, if he can throw 2, he can throw 3.
Oh, for sure. That was a Stevie Reno tune.
That was a Stevie, yeah.
Seemed to have been a familiar theme song this all week down here.
Okay, we got both Steves. Steve Vadney with a 9. Getting set to roll in his 4th frame. He's 15 over.
I almost think that Alfie's need a big crash off Stevie Reno here on this double strike.
Well, here we go. Oh, double strike with 8 on it, Gary.
28, those pins add up in a hurry when you get 28 in 1 frame, that's for sure.
And he wasn't too far from the big one.
No, and he has a nice shot for a spare here.
Okay, Steve Vadney a little wide to the right on that one, Gary. He's going to look for 9 now. There's Steve firing on a spare. 10 in the pit.
Big mark.
And an 8 for Steve Vadney.
Well, Tim Lipke getting up here in lane 10.
Okay, Al Johnson 24 after 2. Tim Lipke 19 after 2.
You know, even with all those marks that Steve Reno just got, New Hampshire All-Stars still have a 20-pin lead in this string to go along with their 49 from the previous 2 strings. Which is a long way from over. We still have 6 frames left from each bowler.
Oh, lots of pins to go, Gary. Lots of pins to go. You see how beautiful shot by Tim Lipke. Delayed action, but nonetheless hit where it was supposed to be. Al Johnson makes a beautiful shot and leaves a 10-pin.
Tough break for Al Johnson. Good break for Tim Lipke.
Well, we can see how quick 20 pins comes back. Gary, Steve Reno got up there. He was 18 open. All of a sudden, he was 36. That was a gain of 18 in one box, 20 in the next box, 38 pins in 2 boxes. But of course, he's bowling against Steve Vadney. Steve picked up 26 himself in those 2 boxes.
Well, Tim Lipke looking to load up here, and he's in. Big count of 8, possible 9, 7 pin, 10 pins gone. Big count of 9.
Al Johnson on the front one, strike.
Big
No
strike,
give
Al
to these
Johnson.
guys, Gary, no give. And Tim Lipke puts the cap on his.
Well, if Alfies are going to keep going here, Dick O'Connell's got to do something. He's 30 in the 4th frame, and he's been their big gun so far in the last couple of matches.
Dick O'Connell wants a mark so bad, Gary, he can taste it.
No, there's no doubt about that. He's down 22 pins this string on his man. And this is the top pin, but he gets a 7, 8 pin break, 9 pin break.
9-pin drop.
This is a mark that he has to have, Bill.
Dickie, a very intense competitor, Gary. You know he wants everything he can get out there. There's Billy Gover wide to the right, and he leaves the 1, the 2, and the 9-pin.
Look on our monitor, New Hampshire up 32 pins this sheet. And Dickie misses it.
There was a key miss right there, Gary. Billy Gover takes advantage of the opening, slaps down his spare. Seems like everything New Hampshire has to do, they're doing.
Well,
okay, Dickie's got a ball in the right-hand channel, Gary, so we'll hold up for a moment here.
Well, it looks like we're going to have a substitution here, Bill. Dan Glint is going to go in for Dick O'Connell.
Okay, Danny Glint. Gary's a young fellow out of Fitchburg, Massachusetts. He's got a 127 average, 503 high triple, 199 high single.
503 high triple, unbelievable.
I bowled against Danny in the 91 World Championships, Gary, and as well as the 91 Coca-Cola Classic. This is a real good bowler, this guy too, Gary. Throw a lot of spares, throw a lot of strikes. Okay, a little wide to the left.
Well, he misses the top pin, but he leaves the 4 horsemen and the 2 trailers in back. Going to be a tough shot.
Billy Gover, open on a mark, throws 8. Whoa.
You got to figure Dan Glint, Bill, after sitting on the bench for 2 consecutive strings, not even throwing a warm-up, you got to be stiff in there.
He sure has, Gary, and he's still stretching. Billy Gover takes advantage of it.
Dan Glint ends up with the 7 for Dick O'Connell, so 46 after 6 frames. Meanwhile, Bill Gover, 80 plus a ball.
How quickly the pins turned, Gary. Dickie Glint was 271 after 2, and here he was 11 under par after 5 in the string. What a turnaround. Harry Reno delivers.
Once again, Harry Reno having a tough time finding that head pin, Bill. Mike Poland punches through to the 3 pin.
Okay, there's Harry going for the spare. He's on the front one. Takes out 4, 3 left. No shot too tough, Gary. Now there was Mike Poland looking at a possible 2 box. Where does he throw down? But on the whole side and makes the spare. Super shot.
Well, Mike Poland and his New Hampshire All-Star team can sense victory here, Bill. I mean, we're at the halfway point of our 3rd string, and they've got about an 80 to 90 pin lead in this match.
Well, you can see how aggressive New Hampshire are being, Gary. They're not sitting back. They're not trying to stay away from a bad box. They're going right for the spares. As you know, Mike Poland just showed us. He didn't care if he got it through the 2nd ball in the hole. He was going for the spare.
Well, there's certain times you got to go right for the jugular, and that's what they're doing right now. Big count of 7 on that spare.
Harry Reno throwing at the back row. Takes out the 10 pin.
Big stick. Come on, never know.
Mike Poland gets on the correct side of that 7 pin split. Takes out 2, and he's left with the 6 pin. And a nice 10 by Mike Poland. New Hampshire want to finish this game off right here and now, Gary.
There's no doubt about that. If you look at their leadoff bowler's up 34 pins. Well, their second bowler is up 22 pins. So that's 56 pins right there to go along with their 49 from the previous two strings.
Jeff Atkins down on the right, comes up with a 1-2. Good break.
Come on, we're still here. We're still here.
Brian Uphold threw down, hit the head pin, and left the 6, the 9, and the 4 pin. Gary, not much of a spare shot there.
Well, pretty easy spare for Jeff Fair. Just wants to hit that head pin. Should have a mark. And he's on the head pin, a little too flush. What a try.
Can you believe that? He should have had it. Just
Hard
about
to
an
believe.
impossible spare. Hit it perfect. Should have had it.
Seemed like he shot 2 pins from the back of the plate to try to knock down a pin in front of the plate.
And that's a guy throwing full bore, Gary. He's not holding anything back. He's throwing as hard as he can.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah, if we had the radar gun on him, I bet you he'd be up there in the 50-mile-an-hour range.
Real hard thrower, Gary. There's Jeff Atkins getting set to throw. Right on the front one. 8-pin drop, 9-pin drop.
Well, Brian right through the top pin leaves a 3-3 split.
Well, Alfies cannot miss these shots anymore, Gary. They have to have everything that's close to a spare. They have to have it.
And Jeff's on
There we
it.
go.
What a
Whoa.
try over in lane number 9. 3-3 split for Brian Uphold. After almost making a virtually impossible spare the frame before that, he turns around and for an encore, he almost makes a 3-3 split.
What control, Gary? Just everything where it's supposed to be. Just amazing. What a treat this is to see this kind of bowling.
Unbelievable. This is the 1991 Labatt's Lite World Candlepin Bowling Championships coming to you from the Sydney Shopping Center, Heather Lanes in Sydney Shopping Center. New Hampshire All-Stars at this point in the match are up around 80 to 90 pins over Alfie's Club 57. And it has all indications that New Hampshire All-Stars are going to be the new World Candlepin Bowling Champions.
There's Steve Reno on his mark. Down on the side, 4. Steve Vadney off to the right, 4. Same break, but on a different side of the alley, Gary.
Yes. The only difference is Steve Reno was open on the mark.
Oh. 10 for Steve Reno. Steve Vadney looking, and a nice 9. A nice 9. Right where he had to be, Gary.
Well, if you're bowling a New Hampshire All-Star team here, Bill, you got to like this. I mean, you're up about 80, 90 pin. You really can savor the victory here. You have 4 frames left for each bowler. As long as you show up for the last 4 frames, you're going to win.
There's Steve Vadney with an 8-pin drop. Steve Reno, an 8-pin drop. Steve's got the 5 and the 9. And he takes out the front pin. 2 accurate.
Yeah, 2 flush on the front pin.
Yeah. Steve Vadney has to hit the head pin. And he picks out the head pin. We have a pair of 10s. Yes, we do.
I'll bring the 2 anchor bowlers up. Al Johnson here in lane number 10. He's open on a big strike, and his opponent, Tim Lipke, open on a spare. So Al will be looking for a double time, trying to cut in that deficit. But they're slowly running out of time here.
Well, he's had a couple doubles already, Gary, so...
Well, you can hear Alfie's Club 57 not giving up, Bill.
Not
Still
by any
singing
stretch
the
of the
chant and
imagination.
having a lot of fun.
Hey, double time. Double time it is.
That's the 3rd double strike for Al Johnson in this match.
Okay, 4 on Tim Lipke's spare, Gary. Now, if he can throw another one, all of a sudden it's a brand new match.
Well, you'd almost need another one, Bill, at this stage in the match.
But you know he can do it.
Oh, definitely.
Certainly not. I certainly wouldn't be surprised if he threw a triple.
Definitely not.
Of course, the bowling we've had this week, nothing is surprising. Just fantastic. 180s, 190s, 450s, 460s, 470s, 480s. Everything we could hope to see, Gary. Just a little heavy in the 1-3 pocket for Al Johnson. 26 on his first strike.
Well, 2-2 split. Tough break for Al Johnson.
Tim Lipke, as we've seen him do so many times before, 9-pin drop, 5-pin. And a dead wood come in now. I don't know if that's a good wood or not, Gary. We can't tell by the angle we have from here. Al Johnson makes a phenomenal try. Hit the outside of the 2-pin across the kick pad and came back and took out the 6, but left the 10.
And Tim Lipke all over that 9-pin break.
And a nice 10. Okay, Gary, I just heard a comment there that epitomizes Alfie. It's the class team there. Let's give it our best and see what happens.
That's for sure. Knock as many sticks down as you can and see what the scores hold.
Hit those sticks.
Well, Bill Gover getting up here in lane 10. He is currently 80 plus a ball after 8 frames.
Well, I can't imagine any teams or any places sending any better representatives of their states than these two teams here, Gary. Danny Glint, now that he's had a box or so to loosen up, you can see the difference in his ball. Meanwhile, Bill Gover has a 8-pin break, 6-10 in the corner.
Oh, nice try.
Fine try and left the 10-pin. Danny Glint, good try, but difficult shot. Nice 10 for Dan Glint.
Well, Bill Gover, 97 after 7 frames. Looking for America, wants to be opening the 8th frame coming home.
Well, Gary, this place was packed at the start of the match, and I see, if possible, there's even more people in here now than there was when we started. Nobody's leaving. Everybody's here to see the whole thing.
Ooh, right through the middle for Bill. And he wants to be on the top pin here for a spare. A nice shot. Should have been.
Well, it's 2 breaks that he hit pretty good. Gary, he could have had them both. Turned out he doesn't get either of them, and it's in the story of the game for Alfie so far. They've been close, but not quite.
Well, 5 for Bill Gover. 102 after 8 frames.
Okay, Bill Gover, Gary's 102 after 8. He needs 123 for 400. Not that he's thinking about that. That's the farthest thing from their mind at this point in time. It's a 400 game, but one mark will give him the magic 400 circle.
Well, Mike Poulin misses the top pin with his first ball. He leaves himself a nice 8-pin break, the 1-pin to 2-pin.
Okay, here's one of Alfie's leaders, Harry Reno. Right now 56 after 6. And as we've seen him do so often before, on the 2-pin again.
And Harry averaged 130 for the tournament, Bill. He's been having a bit of a tough time of it.
Well, 2 of their big guns were silenced in this match, Gary. Dick O'Connell was great the first 2, 271, but he came out to Danny Glint in the 5th or 6th frames here in his 3rd string.
Well, 8 for Harry Reno, 64 after 7 frames.
It was nice to see Captain Atkins give all his bowlers a crack at it, too. Tversky was in earlier, the match. Glint was in. Steve Thomas has yet to see action for
New Hampshire.
For New Hampshire.
Well, Mike Poulin leads the 4 horsemen trailer him back.
I think I said Steve Thomas earlier. Gary, I must have been thinking about hockey. Of course, it's John Thomas.
John Thomas,
yeah. My apologies, John. Okay, coming up now, we have Brian Uphold in lane number 10. Jeff Atkins in lane number 9. Brian is 72 after 6. Jeff 68 after 6 with the ball open. Wow, there's There's a crasher, Gary. Big strike by Brian Uphold. Jeff Atkins getting set to roll on a spare. He's on the front one. 9-pin drop, strike on a spare. Two balls, 2 strikes. Pretty quick.
One ball throws a strike. The other guy says, hey, I can do that too. No problem. Mark her down.
Well, in this case, he did a little better because Jeff was open in that frame. Okay. Wow. Brian Uphold throws down an 8-pin break, but probably the hardest 8-pin break there is, Gary, with 2 pins close together. Here's Jeff looking for a double. On the front one, 9-pin. Wow. Ooh. So close.
Yeah, Brian has to get his punch-out ball here, unless he's going to take that pin off the wall. What a shot, what a shot.
Incredible. Incredible. Wow.
Is he pumped or what, Bill?
I'd say. And there's pretty smooth Jeff taking out the 3-pin. Good spare. Spare strike spare for Jeff Atkins. Okay, that gives Jeff Atkins 108 after 8. Gives Brian Uphold 102 after 8. Both the gentlemen open.
Yeah, both bowlers open on spares.
Steve Vadney and Stevie Reno. Steve rolling, 1-3 pocket. Knocks down 6.
Stephen Renault misses the top pin, leaves a 4 horseman and the trailer and back. Okay,
Steve's got a very difficult shot there, Gary. That dead would come in to block off the 3-pin. Steve Vadney is, wow, did you see that ball scoot in and around the 10-pin?
Unbelievable. This might be gone, Bill. Shaking, won't fall.
Well, the folks couldn't see it, Gary, but the dead would roll back and touch the 10-pin. It's, if you can see now, it's still shaking just a bit. Steve getting a little chuckle out of it. When you see the boys chuckling after the shot's been missed, Gary, you know that everything is all right in New Hampshire.
Yes. And Steve Vadney on the top pin, 8-pin break and a little piece of deadwood. Steve Renault once again leaves a 4 horseman in the trailer and back.
Right, sure, Gary. I think the folks back home in Londonderry, New Hampshire, Newport, New Hampshire, Wyndham, New Hampshire are going to be pretty proud of this team they've sent, Gary. They sent a fine collection of all-star bowlers here to the 1991 World Candlepin Bowling Championships in Heather Lanes in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Okay, Stevie off to the right just a bit, looking at the 4 horsemen, and he takes 3 down the side. Okay, now we have the anchors coming up. Tim Lipke on the right. He'll be bowling first. He is 71 open on a spare against his opponent, Al Johnson, who's 88 in the 6th, 28 over. Lipke delivers down in the front, down in the head pin, knocks down 6, 7. Tim counts 7 on his mark. That takes him up to 78 after 7 frames completed. Al Johnson, good head pin ball. Leaves the familiar 7-10 with 2 deadwood out in front. Hey, Timmy Lipke makes a beautiful shot.
Nice spare, Tim Lipke.
Good. Al is on the deadwood. Spare.
So we're slowly winding down this match, Bill. After these 2 bowlers bowled their 8th frame, will be on the homeward stretch. And has all indications that New Hampshire All-Stars are going to claim the World Candlepin Bowling Championships team event.
Whoa.
Tim Lipke, big strike, just going to add to their cause there.
Okay, not to be outdone, Al Johnson throws down, and for the 2nd successive box leaves the 7-10.
When this bowling is all finished, don't you viewers go away, as we're going to hand out all the prize money too, and we'll maybe have a little interview with both captains.
That would be great, Gary. How much prize money are we talking about, by the way?
Well, the winner here is taking home $10,000. The loser, $5,000.
5,000 to lose. That's pretty nice, Gary.
That's not too bad.
You can't think you're losing after taking home 5,000.
That's for sure. And winner's purse, $10,000. Nice piece of change.
Okay, we've got Al Johnson finishing off his 8th frame. He's going to go to 115 to 116. 116. Tim Lipke, 108 open on a strike. Okay, we'll have a count coming up shortly, Gary, and we'll know exactly. Okay, 29 pins Alfies are behind New Hampshire All-Stars right now with the 39-58. Danny Glint throws a crashing strike.
Well, it's nice to see Danny throw a strike. They're going in there cold after setting out the first 2 strings.
Well, the folks right now are shouting 4-bagger, Danny 4-bagger, and that would change some of the water under the beans if they were to do that.
That's for sure.
He throws a power ball, this Dan Glint, Gary, and as we've seen, these boys can strike him up pretty quick.
Well, I tell you, those 10 pins went in a hurry.
Well, I don't know. Billy Gover just had a 3-1, Gary.
Well,
Fired down, made a lovely 10 out of it. They never give up. Keep digging in, digging in. Dan Glint delivers, sends the ball down on the head pin. Good 6-pin drop, but not what he wanted, Gary.
No, he leaves a diamond cluster on the left-hand side. Piece of dead wooden back. It's a very makeable spare, but this stage of the match, you're looking for strikes.
Danny was thinking all strikes, Gary. He makes the spare. Gets a great round of applause. They appreciate what he's going through, coming in this match cold. Got robbed of a couple spares earlier, and okay, Dan 96 open on the spare in the 10th frame. Throws down 4 for 100.
Well, 100 for the combination of Dick O'Connell and Dan Glint. Meanwhile, Bill Gover, 122.
Now for Alfie's club, we have Harry Reno up in lane number 10. Harry is 74 in the 8th. 8-pin drop for Harry, heavy on the 2-pin. He left the 1-3. Mike Poulin on the front one, 8-pin drop. Nice spare by Harry Reno, Gary. Never stop trying, these fellows, Gary. Never stop trying.
For sure.
Mike Poulin's got a deadwood rolling around the plate. He's waiting for it to settle down to see if it's going to give him an opportunity to make another spare.
Yeah, a bit of a difficult shot here, Bill. He's almost got to use his imagination on this one, I guess.
Well, if you can jam that on the bottom, Gary, the ball should take the 7-pin, and maybe that deadwood will fly across, hit the kick pad, and come back out and make it.
Well, he tried to go low. I don't think he went low enough to get that 7-pin.
No, as long as he stayed high, the ball would jump, and that's not what he wanted. So, okay, Mike looking for a 10. 10 it is. Okay, Harry's 84 plus in the 9th. Open on a spare. Throws down, lovely pocket ball, Gary, and a 9-pin drop.
You know, that Alfie's Club 57, Bill, they're down in the match, but they're still singing.
Still singing, Gary. That's one of the reasons why they've been a crowd favorite here all week.
Yes, that's for sure.
Very entertaining team. Great team to watch bowl.
It keeps you loose, too, when you're singing like that, joking around.
Okay, Harry Reno has one stick up there to hit, Gary, the 5-pin.
And he missed to the right.
Yeah. That, I think, is 3 this string, isn't it? Oh.
Yes, it's about 4 in a match, if I'm not mistaken, over the course of the 2 strings. With those 9-pin breaks, all of them very easily could have been strikes.
Okay, Mike Poulin looking at a 5-box, and you know he's not going to want to finish the 91 World Championships with a 5. And he goes good out for an 8-box. Okay, Gary, right now we're 5 frames away from having New Hampshire All-Stars crown the World Candlepin Championship bowlers for 1991.
Yes, only 3 bowlers left on each side. And if you're going to win, what a fitting way than by beating the defending champs, Bill.
Exactly, Gary.
I mean, you couldn't write the script any better.
When you do that, you say you beat the best. Alfie's 57 were the high pinfall coming in here, which means that, you know, that they had the highest scores for the whole week of bowling. Here's Captain Jeff Atkins, open on a spare, throws 8 on it. Brian Uphold responds to an 8-pin drop of his own.
But New Hampshire All-Stars, I mean, their first match, they beat the Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics, and was probably one of the best matches we've seen on TV in a long time, Bill.
Great match, Gary. One team was up, the next team was up. The leads were changing hands. Came right down to Steve Vadney, I think was the difference in that game. Didn't he go spare 9, spare 9?
Spare strike spare coming home.
Spare strike spare, right. Tim Lipke was put the capper on it.
It came right down to the last frame when Tim Lipke got up. He was over on America's team, was only up 5 pins, and he threw a strike on it, more or less put it out of reach for Tony LeBlanc. But Tim Lipke had a 457 in that match, and Tony LeBlanc had a 447. Just incredible bowling.
Okay, Jeff Atkins is not giving up any. He's got 4 spares in a row now, looking for a 5th. He's got the 4-7 to put a cap on.
We're getting back to how New Hampshire got here. Then they defeated defeated Maine Heat on the strength of a 175 single by Bill Glover in the second string.
And there's Captain Jeff making his spare. Brian Uphold down on the 8-pin. One, two, three, four, 5 marks in a row for Jeff Atkins. And a 4-box for Brian Uphold.
Well, definitely not what Brian wanted. But if you're going to get a 4-box, you might as well get it when you're up about 80 pins.
Okay, Jeff is 144 open. 149. Hey, this is probably the first game we haven't had a 150 string in, Gary.
That's true enough, Bill.
149 is pretty handy, though. Now, we're back to 2 bowlers to go. Steve Reno and Al Johnson versus Steve Vadney and Timmy Lipke. Reno 108 after 8. Vadney 92 plus after 8. When Steve throws down, cuts out 4 off the side. Gary, nice headpin hit, sliced off. Steve Vadney misses on the left and comes up with a good 6-pin break with Deadwood all over the 1-3.
Oh, nice shot.
Tremendous shot by Steve Reno, Gary.
Oh,
and
nice
Steve Vadney makes a great try of his own. Didn't that one of Steve Reno's go quickly, Gary? Right on the money with that one. Couldn't expect to go any quicker, could you?
And 10 for Steve Vadney.
Okay, there's Steve with 5 on his. Gary takes him to 123 in the 9th.
Well, Steve, 4 horsemen to trailer him back. And good effort.
And a good try. Steve Vadney would like to finish off with a mark, I'm sure. There we go. Okay, Steve Vadney, 118 open. And 10 for Stevie Reno. Well, Gary, I'm still looking around, and we haven't had a single person leave the lanes yet. Everybody's here to see the grand finale, the presentation. There's a big 8 on Steve Vadney's. 126 for Steve Vadney,
126, Gary. Fine string.
Steve Reno was 133. Okay, here's Timmy Lipke, 108 open. Al Johnson, 116 after 8.
Well, don't forget, viewers, after the bowling, we're going to recap the scoring, and then we're going to come back with the presentations of the awards and crown our new World Candlepin Bowling Championship team.
Okay, Gary, there's Tim Lipke on his spare, on his strike rather. He throws down an 8-pin drop. Al Johnson, previous to that, threw down 6-pin drop. Al converts his spare, nice shot. Al 126 open. Tim gets 9 in his mark.
Well, you know both bowlers here, Bill. Both of them want to go out with a bang, that's for sure.
Right. Tim 117. This pin here will give him 127 in the 9th. Yep. Okay, Al Johnson 126 open in the 9th. Gary looking for a big one. In on the front one. Bang. 8-pin drop, 9-pin drop. 9-pin cover it with a good wood. There's Tim Lipke throwing down. 7-pin break. Not a good one. I don't think he's too worried about that break right now.
No, I don't think. He's smiling up there, having a lot of fun. He knows that he's on a world championship team.
There's Al Johnson capping off a nice string with a spare. Gives Al 145 plus. So we still may see that 150 game, Gary. Oh, Tim Lipke digging in.
Better.
Okay, Gary, he didn't have to really bear down on that shot, try to make it, but that's the type of bowler he was. He tried for the folks. He wanted to show the folks a TV shot. And a 10. Give us 5, Al. Hey, look at that. Look at that. Strike on it. Okay, Gary. Look at the fellowship and the camaraderie out there. Everybody shaking hands, congratulating each other. High fives, low fives.
Just listen to the crowd back here. All the crowd, all giving everybody a big hand. I hope one of our cameras can screen to the crowd there, Gary, and we've got every person in the place is giving them a standing ovation, Gary. Look at that. Look at the monitor. Just tremendous. Just tremendous. This is what the boys from the United States were saying, Gary. The fans down here were super. They couldn't get over the support they got from all the fans. Well, it didn't matter which team was bowling. They just went with them. Yeah, very knowledgeable fans here, Bill. There's no doubt about that. And New Hampshire All-Stars, I mean, they got here. They defeated Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics. They defeated the Maine Heat. And then they defeated the Alfie's Club 57. We kind of lost words there for a minute.
Yeah, right, sure, Gary.
Yeah,
we've had a lot of words going here the last couple of days, but all of them have been superlatives, Gary, and all of them have been adjectives describing what a fantastic, great bowling show we've had here. And looking over there, look, 149, 155, 150.
And to his left is Donnie Morrison representing Labatt's Lite. And we're here to give out the prize money. And first we're going to give out 2 cans of snow of Cape Breton Air Atlantics for coming fourth in the competition. We're giving him $1,500. We get cans of snow to come up and accept on behalf of Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics. Okay, now, on behalf of Leader Lanes, if I can get Jack Ray to come up, $1,500, fourth place in this competition. Now, third place in this competition goes to Maine Heat. James Mylan, check for $2,500. And another third place, O'Loughlin's Construction, Bill Treefel. He come up $2,500 in prize money. Now, our losers in this final match, but really no losers at all. Second place, check $5,000. We can get Jeff Atkins of Alfie's Club 57 to come up, please.